Man, tech be teching.
Yeah.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
In the morning.
Tang. Wake up. Yeah. Wake up. Wake up, 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 wake up. Wake up, 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 wake up. You better wake up from this dream. Life is not what it seems. This culture's not your reality. You better unplug or be a casualty. Cause the life that we lose in the drug and infusing is keeping us off from our greatness. We gotta spread the love and stop hating. Then rearrange these front pages. From murder and death to building our wealth.
First guy, Omaha.
Removing itself.
In the morning.
In the morning. Teaching my people to love themselves. I'm crashing on competition. That's an interference with the commission. Man, we tired of listening, so we said enough. Unification amongst us. Wake up, 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 wake up.
Time to wake up, wake up, wake up.
Wake up.
Shout out to Sherman Wells, fresh edition of First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Tech be teching already on a Wednesday. Man, appreciate you guys getting up with us though.
Already.
Sure. Marlon Harris will be talking bad about us too. You guys, he ain't changed the title yet on the... Look, man, program. It's the program.
Man,
Pops up and bright and early with us. A good Wednesday morning, First Guy. Appreciate you, Pops.
Hey, Sam coming through.
Yeah, and got Kimber Snipes in the chat early too. Good morning, y'all. What's happening? What's happening?
Yeah.
How was that meeting? How was that meeting the other day?
Was it productive?
That's the question, isn't it? Rose Reviews in the chat. Sit back, relax, put on your headgear. First Guy gonna take you on a trip through the atmosphere.
Okay.
Yo, with the lyrics. I love it. Right on, brother. Rose Reviews. How you been, man? What's going on with you, Mayor Sanchez? We're gonna have to.
Yeah, how's the embroidery going?
Is that what you doing these days?
Yeah. Brother then went got him an embroidery machine. Been doing
Come on, man.
Been doing some
Tell me
things.
that. I've been pricing some things for the next batch, so I have to hit you up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Rose Review, the mayor.
It is the 20th of November today. I appreciate you guys joining us early. Like we start 7:00 hard start for the news, but we wanted to come in a little bit early just to say hello and how you doing to the fam. So appreciate everybody that's getting up and doing that.
Yeah, come on in. Grab a seat.
We was in here and working and on time and the whole nine, and still ended up with some issues on the start. Tech, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm all right. Feeling good though. Energy is up right now. Feeling, looking forward to today. He's got some good news. We'll be talking about today.
What's up? You work at Steakonian now, so you supposed to say feeling great, feeling good. How are you?
How are you? Hey, yeah. Feeling so fresh and so clean.
That's what's up. Judy Prinzler in the chat. Hello, how are you doing? Good. How you doing?
Yeah.
I bet.
I'm feeling good, man.
That's what's up. Yeah, I'm feeling a little better than I have been. A little bit under the weather this past week. But got down on some. I went to make some vegetable soup yesterday, and started eating it. And a couple hours later, I was like, let me put a little protein in here. So I went ahead and put the chicken in.
Okay.
Got the chicken soup going, and so I just been doing that and juicing to try to, fend it off. Don't get no worse.
Yeah, man. Health is wealth, y'all. 'Tis the season with the changing of the temperatures and things. I actually saw the first freeze of the season is expected in the Omaha area. Sorry to break it to you, man, but hey,
I don't want to hear it.
Gotta get ready, man. Yeah, make sure you got all the soup ingredients.
Man, fill the cupboards. Rose Review says vectorizing, digitizing, and embroidery is just like graphic design and coding. I'm certified, bro.
All right,
that's what's up.
He said, "Ask about me."
Yeah, man. So you better ask somebody. I'm gonna hit you up. I got some vector graphics ready for embroidery already on some of the new merch coming. So I'm glad to see that. And if you got a business doing it, man, if that's your side hustle, let us know. We the king of promoting side hustles around here for real. So if you got something you want to drop on us, let us know. Get you some business around here.
Yeah. Shout out to
Marlon
him.
Harrison, I was dreading Marlon Harrison coming on because he's gonna talk bad about me about the title being wrong again. Hey man, it was the program. It's the program. I'm trying to tell you. He
Yeah.
gives, he gives us a good morning, First Sky family. Good morning. Appreciate that. Appreciate you coming on in early. The hellos and how you doings.
Yeah, yeah. How y'all doing? How's the week going so far on this hump day?
Yeah,
What's jumping out to you? What's the word?
yeah,
What's the
yeah.
word?
What is the word? What's jumping out to you? Anything you been on lately? What you been on these days?
Um, been watching From. I don't know if you're familiar with From. It's a pretty
Oh,
decent show, man.
what channel is it on? I've been hearing about it, but I don't think I got the.
It's on MGM Plus.
Oh yeah, I don't got that. I
Yeah,
didn't even know
yeah,
that was
yeah,
a thing.
yeah. Yeah, right, right. I mean, everybody got a streaming thing now situation. But
Yeah,
yeah, I've kind of been on that.
that's what's up.
Yeah, yeah. Aside from that, man, just trying to recalibrate in life. Feel like there's some changes happening, refocusing. Feel like I'm reaching a new chapter in life and trying to wrap my head around it, prepare for it.
That's
Yeah.
what's up, man.
Yeah. Life.
Appreciate that. That's what's happening. Speaking of Netflix and streaming services, I heard Netflix's stock is getting ready to skyrocket because I didn't realize that 65 million people watching that Mike Tyson fight is like Super Bowl numbers. Like
Yeah.
nobody's been doing. No wonder the site crashed.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna start doing more of that and putting sports on it. And they're saying that because they're about to add so much more sports on there, that they're about to kill the game with revenue, which means stocks going up on it. So
Yeah. I mean,
I
they
told you
kind
I
of
shut
late.
mine down. That was last straw for me. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people doing that.
They gotta get those bugs out first. But they kind of late to the game, man. Hulu has been offering sports. A lot I think
True.
YouTube TV offers sports and stuff now. So, Netflix is kind of late to the game.
Yeah, but they're the kings.
Yeah.
Everybody and their mama and their grandma got Netflix. So if now they can watch their shows on Netflix and then watch them live sports too, they're about to take over the game, really. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Might have to bring back that conversation that you were kind of talking about last episode as far as just, the impact of social media. There's been some whispers about how that impacted Trump, and
Big time.
just
Yeah.
how it's just, seeping into every corner of society.
Yeah. Elon's planning to take over Twitter so that he can do what he just did with the president. Yeah, it's definitely worth talking about, especially in our field. Kimmer says the week started off very heavy with the hearing Monday morning that I went to in the afternoon. I shared it with Chris Bowling. He ended up coming up there for the rest of the hearing. That's what's up.
Nice. Baby
Shout out to Chris,
boy.
baby boy. Yep, yep. Sean McCarthy gives us a morning, everyone. Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. She says, I told all my business, including how I was arrested when I was 12 years old because I was a traumatized youth. She says, I also talked about my babies at the library. Ooh, I know that was a touchy one for you.
Man.
Says, I also cried like a baby and I didn't care because if you don't have a visceral reaction and I'm wondering what's wrong with you, man,
Mhm.
man. Yeah, I appreciate you telling your story on that. We'll have to dig a little bit deeper in and find out exactly like how that went. Love to hear more about how that meeting went, and we'll talk about it coming up. Sean McCarthy in the chat says, I didn't realize that Netflix stock, even when it dropped, we still around 8.15 per share. Was still around. Man, I didn't know it was that much. It was still around 8.15 per share. Wow.
I believe it. Like you
Yeah,
said.
we gotta talk about this, man, because I'm thinking about places like CNN that are now doing kind of news comedy shows like with Amber Ruffin and like media landscape changing big time. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, if you're just coming in, we're just giving the hellos and how you doing. We're about to start in just 1 minute here for the hard news. Start at 7 o'clock on First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Excuse me. And we got special guest Mike Lee coming on today. Not sure if
Yeah.
that's reflecting on the title, but yep, just want to let you know that for sure. So yeah, that's what's happening. Sean McCarthy saying Linda McMahon
McMahon.
McMahon McMahon as educated. See, I don't even know who she is. Education secretary. Perfect example of voting has consequences.
See, I know you ain't grow up on no wrestling.
No,
I
bro.
know you ain't grow up on no. That's Vince McMahon's wife.
Oh, I did hear about this.
Yeah,
So
that's Vince McMahon's wife.
So between that and Dr. Oz and everybody
Bro.
he's like putting on all the TV characters on his cabinet.
Yo, this is wild. I saw
Yeah,
Dr. Oz the other day, and yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Speaking
We'll
of
talk
social
we'll
media,
we'll talk about it. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock right now if you believe in the concept of time. It sounds like we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, so we'll get the show started. A fresh edition of First Guy Omaha in the morning,
in the morning.
happening now.
Hey.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You're ready to chime in. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the
Call
God.
me.
We're here talking to you, the chat chimers. Appreciate you guys coming in early this morning for the hellos and how you doings, and being here for the hard news start at 7 o'clock. We appreciate it very much for you to coming on to the show and providing your comments and questions. We have a special guest today, Mike Lee, that's going to be on the show a little bit later on, so stick around for him. Do us a favor, share the show on your page on YouTube and Facebook, especially, and get as many voices in as we can today. It looks like it's going to be a kind of a light Wednesday. So I hope that we can definitely get into some good discussion, and we appreciate everybody that's doing that already. But yeah, appreciate you coming on through. It's the 20th of November today. So
Man,
getting
already.
close to, yeah, man. Everybody, somebody said something to me yesterday saying, "Well, let's get together after Thanksgiving," and I'm like, "Okay, that's about a month away or something, ain't it?" Nope, no,
It's next week.
it's coming up. And what else is
Next
coming
Thursday.
up is the end of our season. Our last show is going to be December 11th for this season. So we only got a few more shows left for this season, and we take our winter break, and then we come back January 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somewhere
yeah,
around there.
somewhere around there for the
Yeah,
next
depends
season.
on how
So
the days land.
right, right. So anyway, that's what's going on with us. So we appreciate you being here for these final. What'd you say? 4 shows left.
Yeah, man, four.
4 shows left. Yeah, 4 shows left in the season. So there you go. Appreciate
No,
everybody.
6. My
6.
math ain't my math ain't mathing. 6.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we were had enough sleep. We were waking up, and now I'm realizing no. I guess I need to just coffee a little harder this morning.
Okay. A little more drunk ship this morning.
Yep, yep. So yeah, we appreciate that and appreciate all your comments that are going to be coming during this first hour, and then remember the second hour we're going to do a lot more discussion, have a lot more just back and forth about some of these stories, and also be speaking to Mike Lee. So stick around for that. Stay tuned for that. We appreciate everybody that's up this morning. I see Maggie Miller Jenkins is up saying for the second hour, Mozambique and the country of Georgia are in the midst of a civil war. Both countries had interference in their elections and subsequent unrest that is causing widespread famine.
Man.
She says, we also didn't get to talk about the second grader who was hung by a fourth grader in the school bathroom. Victim survived, but highly traumatized. Lots of stuff going on in the world for sure. And
Man.
one of the other things that we didn't really get to talk about that's happening is just what Biden just did with Russia.
Yeah, man.
One step closer to World War III. So yeah, we do have a few things to be talking about today. We were going to definitely start locally. We appreciate everybody that rolls with us on the hyper local news here, things that affect us in our neighborhoods, and we appreciate all of you that tie things into the national news when that happens as well. So, thank you. Christy Nor gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Also,
Hey.
Michelle Moreno says good morning, everyone. Appreciate you guys coming on in. We'll go ahead and get it rolling. First and foremost, we like to start with a little bit of community news. So yeah, man, let's jump into a little bit of community news. I'm gonna see what I got. A few things going on today. First of all, did you guys see Sermon with Sherman last night? And
Man.
last night he said he don't call it Sunday Sermon with Sherman because he'll drop in on a Tuesday on you in a hot minute. So yes, yesterday was Tuesday Sermon with Sherman, and there was a big thing going on where there's a local business that has been disrespectful to a black woman and a black family, calling them all kind of n words,
Man.
yelling and screaming, f words, n words, just over some kind of strange dispute. So it's unfortunate that this is happening, but he got on and talked about it. That Sherman's going to get on and he's gonna bring people on. He's gonna have let them tell their story, and that's exactly what he did. So I highly recommend that you go back and check out his show on Sherman L. Wells' Facebook page. He's also on Instagram now too. He did an Instagram live, so you can definitely check the show out. But yeah, China Palace
Man,
calling for a boycott. They're calling for a boycott. They're something went down. Like I said, I'll let them. You can watch their show so you can tell the story. But apparently, older black woman, 70 years old, has some kind of altercation over here that resulted in her being called all kinds of n words and get the f out and all kinds of craziness. And the daughter came in and was trying to get her mom out and saying, "What's going on here? Why are you attacking my mom?" And they tried to run up on her, on the daughter. I believe um Miss Mia Janae is the daughter, and
hmm,
yeah, she was on the show yesterday too, talking about what happened. So, in classic Sherman fashion,
man,
calling for a boycott. I'm certain he's going to go down there with a camera and confront these folks as well, because that's what he does.
yeah,
So yeah, I really hope that you were able to go watch his broadcast, and if you didn't, go back and check it out. And I feel like there's some other things we can be doing too, for sure. There's some other things we can be doing, like not just boycotting the space, but believe it or not, Yelp reviews.
man,
Yeah,
long way.
yeah. So if you already know the story and you already heard the story and you're already on this tip with Brother Sherman Wells boycotting, then yeah, here's the link to the Yelp review. If you've had any issues over there as well, there's some
Man,
things. There's some things we can do, and I think the biggest message that they try to really bring across this time around was like, we got to spend money with our own, man. We got to spend money in the black community, hit black restaurants, support black businesses. People come into our neighborhoods from other areas, and they tend to cop all the money. We
man,
spend all the money with them, so got to be a little more conscious about that. And you vote with your dollar every time. So that's the idea here, is to support black businesses first, support businesses in your neighborhood first. And then if anybody comes with this kind of disrespect in our neighborhoods, we got to shut it down. We got to decide not to spend any more dollars there and all that kind of stuff. So
man, big time.
yeah.
Is the Better Business Bureau still a thing? Is that
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of that. This is definitely
make a
still a
phone
thing.
call? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, yeah. Some people can be called.
for real, for real. Also, a little bit more community news too, man. I want to talk about Ching Diamond, who is a local artist out here, a friend of First Sky Omaha, the family and everybody. She's gonna be performing today
Man,
on speaking of Netflix, on the new Netflix show Rhythm and Flow.
yeah,
So
man.
yeah, she's supposed to get down. So I guess they already taped her performance and it's gonna air today. But yeah, here's the judges, man. They got some heavy hitters
Luda.
up there. See Luda up there, man. Yeah. So this is kind of like the voice type of show. I'm understanding. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet. Yeah.
Actually, this is not that new. If I'm not mistaken, this is a show that was put together by Jermaine Dupri.
Mm.
One of the more notable winners of this show. I believe actually um I'm having a blank on his name, but artist out of California, Sir's brother. He's big on that. D Smoke. D
Oh,
Smoke.
D Smoke came
He
from this?
Yeah, I believe D Smoke came from that.
Wow.
Lotto came from that as well. If anybody knows, she started out as Miss Mulatto.
Mhm.
Yeah, she came from this show. So yeah, this show is definitely like American Idol level. Like it's a star making power from this. And I've been watching Ching Diamond for a little bit.
She's dope.
And yeah, she dope. She dope, man. Been trying to get her to come down here to Atlanta, tap in with some of the DJs, some of the resources and relationships I got down here. She's all that, all that. Shout out to
That's what's
Ching,
up.
shout out to Y Shell, the whole family.
That's what's up. Love it. I love it. And one more thing in the community that I want to talk about too. Our partners over at Weberized. They had a little issue over there. They had to shut down for a little minute, and they're about to open back up. So the grand reopening is coming up as well. And I just lost the date when, so my bad.
Okay.
I will find that for you. But yes, look out for the grand reopening of Weberize that's coming up very very shortly, and I'll get that date for you before the end of the show here. And then, of course, all this is in Friends of First Sky Omaha. And shout out to everybody who's putting stuff in Friends of First Sky Omaha. That's kind of where the first place that we go, the group page over there, to find out what you guys want to talk about and what's going
Man,
on. So
man, much love to my man Star Trek Rich for all the OG First Sky watchers. Much love to my man Star Trek Rich.
you know what it is. Looks like I'm going to be allowing the chat to kind of, you guys are kind of talking to each other on some things. Cool. Go ahead. Appreciate that. We'll go ahead and continue on with the work that we've been doing here to try to bring out some of this local stuff. Thank you very much. And with that, I'm gonna say some of the haps for a little later on in the show. So a little bit more community updates with some haps a little later on in the show. But in the meantime, between time, we definitely have some top headlines, some things that we want to talk about in the news that are very relevant as well to this ongoing conversation. So with that, hand it over to Buddy. How you feeling, Buddy? What's going on with the news today?
Um, well, I will start with an update of something that we've been kind of pushing throughout the week. Again, one of the missing fam has been found. So shout out to the everybody who has reposted and kept updates on the whole Kaya Andrews situation. Again, Kaya Janae Andrews or Kaya Janae, if you follow her on Facebook, there was some concern from her family and extended friends about her possibly being missing, but she has popped up. She has resurfaced and said that, hey, I'm fine. So yeah, big shout out to those who spread the concern. And again, it was stated that she had been missing. The family had not had contact with her since September 27th, which is quite concerning. But definitely glad to find that she's safe. So
Well, this is one of these things that I definitely would like to talk about at some point.
mhm.
Not right this minute, but yeah, the way that it all went down and social media and how fast things spread over, she not the family hasn't talked to her, a member of the family hadn't talked to her in a while, and that turned into a thing. So just a case on how interesting the word can spread and things can escalate. And yeah, it's just interesting story. So I will definitely want to get to talking about that another time.
Most def. Let's put a pin in it. Let's put a pin in it.
Yep, yep.
But in other headlines, again, there's definitely several other things going on. Some good news to talk about. Again, shout out to Sister Ashley Spivey winning her race. So we'll be diving into what that looks like, what that means. Also, paying close attention to what's going on with the medical cannabis situation. Again, Nebraskans voting to make that a thing again to legalize medical marijuana in the state of Nebraska. Although there has been some investigations on the Supreme Court level, looks like that won't actually affect the election certification. So I will
Mm.
talk a little bit about what that means. Also, although we are kind of behind the major election season, presidential election always gets most attention. We still have another election coming up as far as the mayor and city council and other seats that might have more impact on our lives. But there's a political action committee that's coming out of the Dan Osborne camp after his race that I want to talk about again for working class candidates. Something that we always talk about here on the show, the relationship between finances and politics, and how the small man, the average everyday working class person, kind of falls by the wayside, falls in between the cracks when trying to raise funds to run. So talk about what this political action committee means. Also, there's a few development things. Shout out to Do Space. They're opening the new memory lab, which Paul, I know I've been talking to you about your whole project and digitizing and archiving family things. Definitely want to talk about what this means. Do Space is always dope in the community and bringing a comeback with some new programs and some new resources, man. So a big shout out to the library. Big shout out to Do Space for doing some big things.
Yeah.
And then, of course, yeah, as Paul mentioned earlier, some world news going on. Shout out to my G Miller Jenkins dropping some things on us. Some other news has been surfacing on social media. A lot of people concerned about World War III. Brother Anthony Rogers, right, making some comments. Yeah, maybe getting into some world news as well. And there is a connection with the Omaha area, as we do know there's some missile manufacturing companies and some tech companies and some things going on.
Oh, it's not misspeak. It's not a missile manufacturing
Oh
company, but
yeah. But yeah,
parts
it's
that
a
will
connection.
go to some war pieces for sure.
It's a connection. It's a connection. So we'll be talking about all that and more. Of course, if there's anything on your hearts and minds that we're not talking about, feel free to drop that into the chat. We'll try to get into that in the second hour. Now, also, as Paul mentioned, we are expecting a special guest later on, my man Mike Lee, who's a heavy hitter in the political sphere in the Omaha area. So yeah, more conversation, getting into it. Yeah, excited
That's
about
what's
the
up.
day, man. So here we are, new episode, fresh episode of Fresh Guy Omaha in the morning. Meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo,
What's
yo.
the word? What's the word?
Yeah, do us a favor, share the show on your page, get as many folks in as possible, and I'll let them know that it's going on live right now where the conversation can happen. And I appreciate everybody that's in the chat having the conversations. I see Anthony Rogers Wright also went to that meeting that Kimra Snipes was talking about a little earlier here. She said, fellas, I have notes from that joke of a juvenile justice hearing. He said the video at 2 hours was too big to put on FB, but happy to share with anyone who wants to see it. Appreciate that,
Yeah.
brother. Wright. Kimmer came on a little earlier, giving her testimony about some of the things that she said there and shared there as well. And I kind of feel I'm feeling her that sentiment of the emotion that's behind what's going on here with the kids and everybody who's been doing the work with the kids. And how they feel about what's going on here and watching folks make judgments and try to get laws passed that this is going to hurt our kids even more. So I can understand the feeling behind it. So yeah, we definitely want to hear more about this particular situation here. Another thing in the news that we didn't really talk about is Pace is getting another 50,000, and every
Yep.
time I hear about that, I keep thinking, why don't they give BAA 50,000 for the work that they're doing,
Mm.
the sports programs that they got going on, So, yeah, it's interesting, the dynamic here that's going on with what they're trying to do with the kids. So we'll talk more about it for sure, and I appreciate everybody that's jumping into the chat. And I see Gwen Easter gives us a good morning. Jaquilla Yarborough's in the chat saying, "Hey y'all, hey, good morning. I appreciate you guys." Um, on that subject, Anthony Rogers writes says, "Bottom line, they want to lower the age to try children as adults. That's it.
Man,
That's all they want to do. That's the only thing they can come up with. I guess the only thing that
hard
they
stop.
can. Right, right." So I appreciate everybody. With that, we'll take a quick break and we'll come right back and jump into some news. Again, do us a favor, tell a friend, spread the word, and then stick around with us on the 8 o'clock hour when we get a little and get into some more news as well. And we'll come back and jump into it. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B.
Bobby.
He's Buddy the guy. We'll be
Hey.
right back after this.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the next story, trying to get ready.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddy the
Bobby.
guy. Man,
Hey,
all of you chat chimers, appreciate you joining us and all fired up this morning too, man. We really appreciate
yeah.
that. I was just thinking a second ago about our chat chimers kickback that we had last summer jam session, and I was
Jam.
thinking we didn't even get to jam with Anthony Rogers right. That's one of the reasons why we put that jam session together. So
Man.
yeah, we're gonna have to get some kind of situation going on here with during our winter break, where we put some kind of thing together. We usually do it in the summertime, but little Chad Chimers kick back in the winter might be a good thing to do too. Break
Yeah.
them instruments back out and love supreme
Slap the
in a
bass
big
a
way.
little bit.
Yeah, man, put some stank on.
Yeah, man. Some funk.
We're gonna jump into the news, buddy. What's first on the agenda?
Man, speaking of stank and funk, medical cannabis.
Like George says, something stinking. I want some.
Oh man, an update on a story that we've been paying close attention to again, not just the races we've been trying to highlight in this here past election season, but also a lot of the issues again that you, the voters in Nebraska, got to voice your opinion on directly. And one of the big things, of course, is medical marijuana. And for many reasons, of course, Nebraskans have been voting on this actually for some years as a way to ease, health issues, especially dealing with chronic pain and things like that. But also through our conversations with the senators, it has been identified as a possible way to help with some funding things, tax easing in the state. So again, a lot of eyes been pointed to this, and remember, kind of the climate in which this state views marijuana. If you remember the former governor's comments, marijuana will kill the kids. Made us a national laughing stock with that one.
You're indulging in marijuana, you're killing your kids, man.
Man, there you go, there you go. But again, the Nebraska Attorney General Mike Hilgers did pledge Tuesday, according to the Nebraska Examiner, that his office's ongoing civil and criminal investigations into two medical cannabis measures won't impact whether or not he certifies the election results. Again, Nebraskans voted in favor for the passing of medical marijuana in the state, and also a measure that deals with the regulation of medical marijuana, which is a conversation we've had here on the show. Attorney General Hilgers, commenting at a news conference Tuesday about the two different lawsuits, said he will consider certifying regardless of the cannabis related lawsuit or the related timing of an expected judicial ruling after a 4-day trial. Again, 5 state constitutional officers, including Hilgers, are scheduled to meet early next month to determine whether to certify the November 5th election results. He says, I have no reason sitting here today to not certify. And again, I will remind us that the state of Nebraska, the people of Nebraska, did vote to pass medical marijuana in the past, but the Supreme Court stepped in on a technicality and struck that down. So, again, it's always very
Mm,
interesting to me to see whether or not the state's attorney general's office will, honor the will of the people as they're supposed to do as an elected official. Which, with the whole felon voting situation, or formerly incarcerated brothers and sisters being able to vote, that situation, we've seen that he's not too opposed to just breaking the law, if you will. So here we are. Here we are. Good news for medical marijuana.
there we go. I see Anthony Rogers right in the chat. He's saying, yes, pleased to announce the Equitable Distribution Act for Medical MJ is almost ready to be introduced. We have 2 state senators who are interested in introducing and helping to muster co-sponsors. So, yeah, some movement there. Appreciate that very much. Also, Matthew Miller Jenkins has a great question. How will this impact agriculture? Can farmers in the state grow it? Will this be a Nebraska import or export? These are the.
So,
Mhm, go ahead.
To my understanding, actually, there has been a hemp bill that already exists in Nebraska. There is supposed to already be an ability for Nebraskans to grow and use hemp and different manufacturing, processes and things like that. Textiles. I mean, there's many uses for the hemp as a crop, beyond just the recreational and medical, smoking of it. It's a crop. There's many uses for it, which has been a case in Nebraska. But there are, of course, barriers as far as licensing, um, just setting it up. Yeah. So as far as that,
Yeah.
interesting to see
But,
how that
yeah,
will.
I was just gonna say that too, that, like Anthony Rogers Wright is saying, hemp and THC are not the same thing.
Right.
So, yeah, but they've used, this is the reason why you see all these weed shops popped up around here because they've already used kind of the stuff that's gone on before as, the agricultural side of this thing to be, doing what they're doing. So I haven't heard anything about any farms or anybody growing anything, but I have I have seen these shops pop up all over the place,
Man.
and that's part of that. So yeah, also Anthony Rogers Wright is saying yes, that's one of the things called for in the EDA that he was just mentioning here. But we're trying to limit how many CAFOs can grow it, so the benefits go more to small family farms and growers. So seems like brother Anthony Rogers Wright has definitely has a lot of information on this. You can definitely hit him up and ask him about it, I'm quite sure. And then we'd love to talk more to you about it directly as well, especially this thing that you got going on here. The announcement you just made about the
The-
what is the Equitable Distribution Act medical. Yeah, there you go, EDA. So yeah, interesting stuff. I'm glad to hear because I've been grown up in California. I've seen the laws change over there as well, and yeah, the laws change and then they immediately benefit certain groups of people and not others. And so it's interesting to see all this stuff kind of go happen again in the
Mhm.
order that it happened last time in my life. So
Hmm.
yeah, just interesting. The CAFO he's saying is big ag, corporate ag, SKA bad bad agriculture, right?
Mhm.
Appreciate that. Wanda Lewis says, "Can we grow it in the garden for personal?" I
I
don't
don't
know if they gonna
know.
let you. I don't even think you can do that in California yet.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but I will point you to the initiative measure 438, which is the bill that regulates the use of medical marijuana. So your answer might be in there.
There you
Again,
go.
that's measure 438.
Also, Measure Miller Jenkins says the first laws on the books mandated hemp take 1 acre for every 10 acres, which is why I'm interested in the implications of this law.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
good
there's
questions.
definitely yeah, it's definitely, the law itself and just the ability to use it. And then of course the question of the regulation. And as Paul, is mentioning, how will this impact, your 42 degree stores and your other stores that have popped up in the Omaha area that are already selling like CBD products? What does this mean for them? And then, yeah, also, we got to continue and keep on mind, what does this mean for those who are serving prison sentences for marijuana? We got to push that conversation forward as well. If this is something that is going to be legal in the state, then it has to at least be considered.
Right. And one more thing to consider before we move on to the next topic too is
Mhm.
that we live in Omaha, Nebraska, where there's a huge medical scene here. We're
Yeah,
one of the top hospitals and research hospitals and stuff in the country. And how's this going to affect? This is medical marijuana we're talking about. How's it going to affect the medical industrial complex here in Omaha? And what sway will they have, and what will this mean? So there's still a whole lot of questions here on this particular subject, and we'll continue to talk about it. I'm quite sure.
yeah, man. Yeah. To kind of wrap up, and before we move on to the next thing, as far as the lawsuits that go, again, although they will not impact or should not, as Attorney General Hilgers is saying right now, should not impact the certification of the vote. There is still an ongoing lawsuit. Again, Attorney General's office has joined John Kuhn, who's a former state senator and former member of the state board of health. Speaking of, the state's health complex, Paul, in challenging tens of thousands of signatures alleging widespread circulatory fraud and notary malfeasance. That means the petitions never should have been placed on the ballot. Ebenen did certify the measures September 13th based on current information. So, again, although the circulatories might be in trouble, there has already been one petition gatherer who did admit to putting false signatures on his petition. So we'll definitely see what happens with that. But again, it definitely looks like the people's will come to be. So good
Ooh,
news.
excuse me.
Good news.
Right on. Appreciate that. Another little call to action that Anthony Rogers Wright is saying we should do is write the governor now, y'all. We want to make sure that the 5-person commission has at least one independent and at least one person from the legal marijuana now party. Very important. And we know how
Yeah,
they like to stack these committees with their friends and buddies, and a lot of times there's not a lot of representation there. So it's a good idea to sit right now and make those demands. Imagine Miller Jenkins is thinking what I'm thinking. How bad will Big Pharma dip into this process because of the medical implications? So, yeah, lots of questions here that we definitely have to continue to talk about on this. So, appreciate you guys' participation and interest in this subject. And yeah, right on. Let's move on from that.
right on. Right on. Well, let's go
7:28
ahead.
right now. Hmm.
Yep, yep, yep. About halfway through the first hour. And speaking of representation and, fighting for this, a big shout out to Sister Ashley Spivey, who will be representing North Omaha in the state legislature and, helping to fight and keep medical marijuana alive. This is something that we spoke to the sister about directly, as, many, many things as far as helping with the tax base in the state. Again, of course, the health implications of medical marijuana and its impact on schools. Again, there's discussion about changing the funding formula for Nebraska schools, and in the face of some of the Trump promises, a lot of attention being pointed to how will schools be funded, how will they be regulated, what is the future of schools. So I believe brother Anthony Rogers Wright was the one who suggested, putting in 20% of the revenue from medical marijuana going towards schools. So there's definitely some ideas, some conversations going on, but again, it looks like those ideas and conversations will continue. It might have some leg, making her way now to the state legislature. Very, very close race. But again, big news. And has a huge impact on again what this means for the legislature now that Senator McKinney isn't necessarily fighting alone, as he mentioned on Monday when we spoke to him, that it will be a very interesting year as far as the state legislature. But as far as the makeup of the legislature with this latest win, that leaves the GOP with 33 seats as it has now, the number needed to end filibusters and pass contentious measures such as switching back to a winner take all system for awarded electoral votes, which is something we should look out for in this upcoming session. Democrats will have 14 seats, and one will be held by a nonpartisan lawmakers. So the state is still red, but the North Side has some representation, man. So big shout out to Sister Ashley Spivey, who's pounding the pavement. Paul, I know you were out there pounding the pavement with her.
Yeah, yeah, I got a
Yeah,
chance to film getting busy out there, so, it was good, like I said, she was very, personable to people. People responded well to her. She did the work. She's ever since she announced, she's been pounding the pavement every day, so this has been
mm,
going on for several months. You've watched her, her whole, just person her as a person change over time just because of how much she's been out shaking hands and stuff like that. So I'm very excited that she won the race. It was kind of up in the air a little bit because of because they had some more things to count and they waited till what was it, Monday was when they finally counted the rest of those those
yep,
pieces
yep.
to solidify it. So that's one of the reasons why we're going to have a guest Mike Lee on a little bit later on the show too. He's going to break down a little bit about what happened with that campaign and how it went. So I can't wait to hear about it because we hear about it from the inside. He was their campaign manager. I want to hear about it from the inside for real and hear how it went down. But very excited about the new dynamic duo that's going to be in the legislature that's coming up. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, and also excited about what this means about the future as far as elections go. This kind of emboldens and kind of inspires the people. Like Ashley Spivey is one of the candidates that a lot of people supported, and I'm just looking at the slim margin of her race. Again, at first she was leading only by, according to this Omaha World Herald article, a 41 vote lead when vote counting ended on election day. And again, as counts, I believe there's a provisional ballots that were kind of hanging in the balance, and that actually widened her margin to about 148 votes. But again, that's a very slim margin. And you think of how some of the things have changed as far as again formerly incarcerated brothers and sisters being able to vote. Um, and just how much more work. I mean, if you can get 200 more people to register and 200 more people to vote, that can swing an election. It does not take much to decide elections. I mean, it doesn't take much. So again, very inspiring to see that if we can just get a few more people activated, a few more people mobilized, that things can change and we can have the outcomes that we hope for. And it's not always doom and gloom when we're talking about elections and the the worst of two evils and things like that, that people tied to elections. We can have the people that we want to represent us. So big shout out to Sister Ashley Spivey for her victory.
there you go. Love it. 7:32 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, just want to encourage everybody. Please, if you have not yet signed up for the weekly wrap, please do so. The weekly wrap is our weekly newsletter. This is what we drop on Fridays now instead of doing the live show. We're just making some general changes around here about what it is that we are outputting, and this is the beginning of that. So, really highly encourage you to sign up for that. I'll go ahead and put that link in the chat if you haven't done so already. Shout out to everybody that has done so and let's keep up with each other there. There's surveys that are going to be on the weekly wrap regularly. There's also the ability for you to just respond to firstsky@gmail.com to things that are going on in the weekly wrap as well. And yeah, we highly encourage you to do that. We're refining this as we go, and this is going to be kind of the one of the main places that we communicate. So weekly wrap newsletter every Friday. Also check out the firstsky.omaha.com website that we'll be updating with news articles and things that the like. We really kind of easing back. We kind of started in social media. It is what it is. We have to be here, but we also see a lot of what's going on with the algorithms here all the time, limiting things and limiting conversations and so on and so forth. Sherman Wells was just talking about it last night on Sermon with Sherman about how the lady who got cussed out by the people at China Palace put a post up and Facebook took it down, said it didn't meet their standards
Mm.
probably because she was very vocal about the fact that they were calling her 70-year-old mother the N-word the whole time, and so she couldn't even get that message out. So somebody screenshot it, sent it to Sherman. Sherman had a whole show about it. Highly encourage you to go check out Sherman L. Wells page and
Man,
check out Sermon with Sherman to hear the story, and we'll be talking about it more as we go as well. Right now, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back in, jump into another story. And then when we get back a little later on, we have a guest, Mike Lee, in the house, who's turning out to be one of the hardest working mans in politics around
man.
here. So definitely talk about him and about the Ashley Spivey campaign from the inside. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B.
Hey,
Buddy the
party.
guy. Stay tuned,
Hey.
y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be Buddy the guy. Appreciate you guys sticking with
Yeah.
us through the first hour of news. Shout out to Pops. That was his track. Pops, what was the name of that track again? I call it Pop's theme on my list over here. But what's the name of that track? What album? What album is it on? Give us the link. Give us the link.
Yeah.
Highly encourage everybody who has got works of art and music to promote. Man, that's us too. So definitely put your links to your new albums and things like that out for sure. Pop's got some work out right now that you need to be checking out in a big way. So definitely put those
Yeah.
links in the chat. Pops, appreciate you, and everybody else, man. Shout out to Sherman Wells too, man. We adopted his track for the opening song for our show now.
Yeah.
Wake
Yeah.
up. So
All
shout
right.
out to Sherman Wells, man. He been sending me stuff underground too, man. He was like, man, check this one out. You didn't know about this one
Yeah.
either. Okay, okay.
Yeah, keeping the love supreme going, man. I was listening to the sermon with Sherman and whatever intro track he got on there, man. That
Man,
track is jamming. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if that's him or what's going on, but yeah, that track jamming too.
coming with some heat. I got to blow the dust off of my keyboard and come back with
Yeah.
it.
All right. All right.
I see a new name in the chat. Banks Janet said listening. She's listening. Blessings. Thank you. She said Pastor Janet Goodman Banks. Appreciate you
Okay. Okay.
joining us. If you're joining us for the first time, I really appreciate you
Welcome.
coming on in. Yeah.
Yeah, Pastor Banks in the building. Thank you. Thank you.
And just a reminder with the new name, I always like to re-mention about how we use the chat here. We definitely use the chat as if we're speaking to each other face to face. So there's a lot of respect. There's no trolling. There's a lot of conversation going back and forth. Good questions. Good information that happens in the chat. We do not have a regular chat, and I really appreciate that we don't.
Yeah.
When I say regular chat, go to channel 7 and look at their chat to see the trolling and the racism and the ridiculousness that people use. They feel like they are anonymous, so they can just say what they want, do what they want. Nah, this is a fam around here, bro.
Yeah.
Brother Casimo go knock on your door. So
Come find you.
let's be cool. Let's be cool. That track we played in the break was called Instrumental 8 on Amazon. Definitely check it out. Pops got some fire out there. So that's
Yeah,
what's up,
man.
man. Yep. Anthony Rogers Rice says Big Sherm, talking about Sherman Wells, is also the best salesman in the state. Personally delivered my new From the Hood hoodie, and I can't take it off. So dope.
Oh yeah, yeah. Got me some
Still
from the
ain't got
hood merch.
still ain't got mine. I gotta
Come
get my
on, man.
man.
You gotta tap in, man. You
I'll
gotta
tap
tap
in.
in.
I want
Yeah,
that
go.
starter jacket that they got. That's what I
Oh
want.
yeah, yeah. That's the black, red, and green one. That's a
Yes,
cold
sir.
piece right there. It's a cold piece.
Cold
I
piece.
might have some merch available at the Central Gathering place. So yeah, check them out. Check them
Yeah,
out.
man. Most def.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Appreciate you guys hanging tough. We got a couple more things we want to jump into, buddy. What's next on the agenda?
Yeah, kind of keeping it in the realm of political organizing as we prepare for our guest, brother Mike Lee, coming up in here in a second, and a few chat chimers are already making comments about this next story, talking about Dan Osborne again, and kind of talked about Sister Ashley Spivey, who had a very close race, and Dan Osborne's race was another very very close race, and actually a lot of national attention was pointed towards this race. Again, he only lost about 6 percentage points to now current Senator Deb Fisher, of course, a Republican. But again, the big kind of hoopla about this is the fact that Dan Osborne ran as an independent. And again, very, very close race, only lost by about 6 percentage points. And he wants to continue the momentum that he feels like he gained during this election. And will continue that in the form of a hybrid PAC or political action committee. He made the announcement Tuesday via the Nebraska Examiner with the aim to boosting working class candidates for Congress, candidates like him. Again, Osborne is a factory worker. He served in the military and it wants to see more candidates like himself run in the future, which is something that we've talked about here on the show, as far as the relationship between finances, the ability to raise finances, the ability to work. Again, it's kind of hard to run for any kind of office if you have a regular job. If you're, especially if you're a factory worker, a carpenter, a plumber, just a regular working class person. However, that causes some disconnects when we talk about, billionaires like Ricketts and Pillin, running our nation, running our states, running our cities. Where is the real connect between the powers that be, quote unquote, and the everyday people who are being ruled by these decision makers? So again, while brother Anthony Rogers Wright is calling it a scam, I'm kind of here for what I'm hearing from again brother Osborne. Osborne said in a statement that his
Mm.
aim is to empower more plumbers, carpenters, teachers, nurses, and factory workers to run for office with an emphasis on members of labor unions. The announcement said the fund will help organize working class voters to advocate for kitchen table issues that matter for regular people. Echoing some of his upstart campaign themes, Osborne said he wants to help members of Congress better reflect those they serve. His closer than expected contest, as I mentioned, grabbed national attention for the simple fact that, again, this is a red state. Nebraska Republicans outnumber Democrats 2-1 in the state, and nonpartisans typically are split between the two major parties. Again, however, Osborne was able to have a very, very close race. As of right now, Osborne has raised about 7.9 million and spent only about 6.7 million by mid-October. Osborne's campaign in October reported raising 3.3 million, a record quarter for any modern Nebraska Senate race. Fisher raised only about 1 million in the same period. So again, while brother Anthony Rogers Wright is kind of calling out Osborne, saying that he knows nothing about running a political action committee, it seems like he's making some headway. And again, this is a conversation that I want to bring to us here on First Sky Omaha, because we often talk about, political party. There's been mention of starting political parties. And again, we'll be speaking to Brother Mike Lee here in a second, who is the president of the Black Caucus in Nebraska. And again, what does that mean for marginalized communities? Is there a way for us to kind of take a page out of Osborne's book as far as forming our own political action committees or other political bodies that will support our candidates? Because you see, with the Ashley Spivey race, although she was a Democrat, um, there's many conversations about, how we feel about Democrats. We've seen kind of the lack of support on the national level for Brother Preston Love Jr.'s race. So again, what does that mean for candidates that represent marginalized communities? And can we take a page out of this book? Paul, what say you?
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because that's really what it boils down to me. I saw a lot of back and forth and shady stuff going on with that whole Dan Osborne thing. We were also, they also hit us up trying to get us to do some stuff. I was going back and forth about it because of the fact that the way that they came in. I think somebody in the chat talked about it, just came into North Omaha, right before it's Heather Williams in the chat saying Dan Osborne only paid attention to North O 2 days before the election. I saw his people putting up signs, but not knocking any doors. We can go around and around about that. Anthony Rogers Wright has some good points about some of the feelings that a lot of people have about this because of knowing some of the facts here. He even says a few things. One, it was not that close. He lost by 8 to a dinosaur who only started running the last month of the campaign. Yeah, I think that Deb Fisher thought she had it in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Also, too, his campaign manager was a rich white kid from Connecticut. Nebraska was an experiment for him. He called like 4 people to run before Osborne finally said yes. So there's some things out here that he's saying. He says 3 FCC reports now reveal that Mr. Osborne took much money from dark money sources. How's that independent? I remember a lot of other people talking about, it seemed like he was switching his message up at the end as well. It seems like he was a, um, a Trump supporter in the end, and
Mm-hmm.
all these things. But that's not what I really want to dwell on. I want to dwell on the thing the reason why you, buddy, brought this story up is what you were saying. Like the idea here is what can you take from it? Like what
Right.
can we take from it in order to do what we're trying to do? It's good to know these details. So I appreciate people like Brother Anthony Rogers right in the chat giving us some of the details on it because that's what I want to know. I want to know details. I want to know what this means. What can we glean from that? What can we use for that to organize? You're right. This we talk about a pack all the time that how do you put one of those together? How do you manage that? What does that mean? Who do you tap? who do you talk to? So these are some good questions, and the reasons why I'm even digging back into the story at all in the first place is because I want to figure out what we can take from it, glean from it, and use from it more than I care about the outcome of that race and what and how he ran and who he was and the whole nine. Now it is worth paying attention about him because he's obviously in here still doing some things,
Mhm.
and I'm sure that he'll be moving politically, and we got to pay attention to that. But for me right now, the biggest thing is like what you said, like what can we take from it?
Yeah, yeah, big time, big time. Thank you to Pastor Banks in the chat. She's also kind of giving some insight. She says, "I'm a nurse. I met Osborne at the Union Hall in Lincoln. I had questions. I told Osborne and his campaign that he needed more Black people on his campaign. Oh, there are many questions for the state Democratic Party. Blessings, Pastor Janet Goodman Banks. Thank you for that comment. I couldn't quite open it, but Brother Anthony Rogers Wright also shared a comment or a story, a link to a story out of the
Oh
Lincoln
yeah.
Journal Star
Mhm.
about some dysfunction in the Democratic Party. I said, and I hope and wonder if Mike Lee will speak to the infighting with the Democratic Party in this state because things seem very messy right now, according to reports. And actually, also speaking of support from the Democratic Party for certain candidates, Sister Kimra, who we have discussed here on the show, has recently decided, her exit from the Democratic Party and announced that she will be leaning more so independent. She says he got way more support than Preston. Again, talking about Dan Osborne. Regardless how you feel about Preston, she also says you got to have the right message before even think about organizing the people. First, let's come up with that, which I definitely appreciate, and that's kind of something that Senator McKinney had mentioned that this kind of really a continuation of that conversation that we had with Senator McKinney on Monday, as far as again, what does that look like for us as a community? Of course, we were talking about it in regards to police brutality and repairing the relationship with the community and police, and what type of policing would the community like to see. But these are things that can be addressed with the likes of a political action committee. If we can identify candidates within our community that has the message, that understands the message, understands the plight of the people, and then put some finances behind that. That's kind of the big question about the independent situation. Like we know that the Democratic Party uses the Black vote as in case of emergency. Like we know that they pander to our vote. We know this. That is the huge issue that a lot of our viewers here on the show understandably have with the Democratic Party, besides the fact that they don't do anything to better our situation in this country. So what does that mean? Again, a lot of people moving towards the independent. We've had the likes of Dr. Jill Stein, Dr. Cornel West on the show, who are again urging us and pushing us towards a third party just ideology to get out of this two-party system. But again, the problem with that is finances. Independent it's not a monolith. Like independents come in a various range of political ideologies, and how do you support those races and those candidates? So again, a lot of I don't really have the answers, but kind of facilitating the conversation. And these are questions that we need to find answers to because it does seem like the two-party system is on the downslope, if you
Yeah.
will.
Some of these answers, looks like we got people in the chat right now. We can even get some of these answers from. Kimmer Snipes is saying Pastor Banks is also vice chair of the Nebraska Democratic Party Black Caucus.
Ah,
So
aha.
appreciate that. Appreciate you
Yeah,
coming on in
yeah,
here.
yeah,
Now,
yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna talk to
yeah.
you
Okay,
and
makes
Mike
sense.
Lee about a
Makes
couple
sense.
things. But yeah, but most deaf. Also, I have this is where I go when we start talking about that in the first place, because I feel like okay, I'll put the comment out first, and then I'll make a comment on it. Maggie Miller Jenkins says, "How do we remove the money from politics instead of
Man,
figuring out how to find new ways to maneuver it?" My feeling is that that's exactly where I go. I go like,
really?
yeah, because I told you like Toni Morrison is my favorite writer. She's always talking about the master narrative, and this is the reason why I live by this whole saying. I don't agree with the premise of the thing in the first place. Like I am not this person who feel I will quite automatically like pull back and be like, okay, I recognize that this is the game. Do I want to play the game or do I want to change the game? Now, this age now, I'm understanding that I got to do both. I got to hold both of those things in the same mind. So yes, I believe we need to figure out how to play the game, how to build packs, how to do things to play the game. But I also feel like at the same time, we need to figure out how to get money out of politics and so on and so forth. I feel like that is something that needs to happen at the same time. Uh,
Mm.
but I wanted to acknowledge your comment because I'm feeling that as soon as you start talking about, well, how can we this and where can we raise the money? And I'm just like, can we just get money out of politics? Like in the first place? Like,
I mean, it sounds good, and I used to be there. I used to be there as far as like really in my heart, like man, we need to get rid of that. But at the same time, it takes money to raise, like it takes finance to raise a nation. It takes finance to do
right,
these things.
right,
You gotta gas up the bus. You know, if you're gonna be going from community to community, you gotta gas up the bus. You gotta pay for the ads. You gotta pay for the mailers. Like unless you find a company that's just gonna do it for free in their heart, but it's hard. It's hard. It's very, very hard. And when you think about, things that have worked for the benefit of marginalized communities, thinking about the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement were working class people putting their money into the things that benefited them. Like you can't get
right.
away from it. You can't. You can't.
That's
So
true.
we need to organize. That's it. That's it. Our dollars are being dispersed.
That's it, but it's also the other thing too. This is my point. My point is now
Mhm.
I'm at this point now where I'm understanding that you gotta they feel like two opposing things, but I don't feel like they should be. I feel like
Okay.
and even if they are two opposing things, they still need to be held in the same mind. We need to figure out both things.
Mhm.
Play the game while we're in it, but also figure out how to change the game.
Yeah, I'll say this to your point. I'll say this: like, you need finances to make the thing happen, but it definitely should not be a situation where like you can't run unless you're the director of some nonprofit.
True.
That situation we definitely need. Senators making more than 1,000 a month. Those types of things. So yeah, but I don't think you can just get away from no money in politics and people just voting on some app or something. I don't know what that future looks like, but it's just very hard.
Well, Kimmer's, you know how we do solutions journalism. Look elsewhere to see
Yeah,
what other
man.
people are doing. She says, I don't know how you feel about Brazil, but you can only spend 50 grand on a campaign max.
Okay.
How do their elections go there though? Are their elections seem fair?
Uh,
What other things are factors in elections in other places? Not sure.
yeah.
So
As Majee Miller Jenkins mentioned earlier, there's a situation in Mozambique in the country of Georgia about their elections being tampered with.
true that.
So it is something to be talking about. I kind of like what Majee Miller Jenkins is also saying. This is something that I've been mentioning, saying human rights as a baseline to organize around for a third party would encompass all kitchen table issues. And I mentioned that several times. As far as it does feel like there is a need for a human rights movement. Like we've already had a successful
Mm,
civil rights movement, and the next iteration of that is human rights. And what does that mean? What does that look like? It's a whole nother conversation, but I think that's where the conversation should go because again, going back to Monday, all the issues that we talked about, all the stories that we're talking about are really a lack of recognition and honoring others' human rights, the way we treat inmates in this country, the way we treat children in this country, the way we treat people battling addiction and then homelessness. All of these people have the right to be treated humanely.
uh,
And that's not the case. And a lot of that is tied to, unfortunately, policy.
which is all tied to white supremacy and racism.
All right. All right. All right. Is that
I mean, that's the bottom
all
line.
right?
Like I look at it like this. Like I was watching something where somebody was in England. What was I watching? I was watching some show, and something happened to the protagonist, and then they had to go to the hospital, and the hospital was just like just took care of it for him. It was like, wait a minute, so I can fall out and do something in the street, and you'll bring me in here and fix me up for free. It was like, yeah, it's and just was a reminder that most developed countries have like free healthcare and stuff like they care about their citizens. In other words, they care about they care about themselves, which are the citizens. So why wouldn't you, if you had a country, why wouldn't you want that for your just like what you want for your family. You want healthcare for everybody in your family. You want
Mhm.
healthcare for everybody in your neighborhood. You want healthcare for everybody in your country, in your nationality, or whatever it is that you find pride in. Why wouldn't you care about them like you care about yourself? It's only in this country, and it's because of racism, and it's because of what they used to call the Negro problem back in the day.
All right.
It's because of white supremacy that they do not give nothing away for free, and this trickles down to everybody. I saw a funny meme yesterday with this woman standing there with this white woman with the look on her face with this hat on, MAGA hat on, saying, see, you just wanted to get rid of Mexicans and punish gay people, and now you ain't got no health care. In
Mhm.
other words,
Mhm.
look what you voted for. And that's our country. Our country is built on that, and it doesn't just affect us, people of color, and immigrants and people like that. It's affecting these people that they like they the attitude of not caring about the people in your country is only because they hate black people so bad.
Man, you said a mouthful there, and I cannot disagree with a word that you said. I cannot disagree with the word that you said. And this isn't just because I am Asiatic in America, so-called African American black. But just through observation, it does feel like the Negro problem, quote unquote, as you mentioned, is still something that isn't being addressed fully. And once that's addressed will change things. And the kind of key indicator for me is how Democrats and Republicans pander for the black vote. And even in this election, people were pointing the black man as the so-called black man as a swinging vote. And even in the messaging of Kamala Harris, a lot of people pointing to the reason that she lost was her messaging for black men.
Anthony Rogers Wright just said we need to start asking how Kamala blew 1.6 million and not 30 million in debt. It's insulting that all of our money was burned only to lead to a big loss. And not just that. When you think back about like the pandering that you're talking about, it's a big deal that all these huge stars came out for her. Is that what she thought? Is that what she thought the black people needed to see Beyonce for us to go vote?
Man, Meg the Stallion twerking, Lil John at the convention.
Bro, as
That's what
opposed
moves us.
Donald Trump did stuff like went and worked the fry machine at McDonald's and was in
Hugging on black folk at Chick-fil-A, dropping
756
new
right now.
sneakers. I mean,
Dropping new
y'all
sneakers.
seeing what I'm seeing? Are y'all seeing what I'm seeing?
756 if you believe in the concept of time. Before we move on, Anthony Rogers Wright told us about a meeting that was coming up. He says, speaking of Haps, date change for the meeting. The new Omaha local party meeting will be this Friday at the Sydney at 7 o'clock. We're getting ready to make lots of noise during the municipal election. Stay tuned. Please
Okay.
hit up Anthony Rogers Wright for information there on those things. Appreciate that.
And just remind us, what was that? Was that the Socialist Party that you had mentioned? That you're organizing?
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know what about your meeting again. And also, like I said, hit him up if you need that. If you need more information on that meeting there. So, yep, we can go on and on. I highly encourage you guys to go into the chat and see some of the discussion that's going on here. For sure. Kimmerson, because she ain't making them decisions by herself. This is true. She says, and that's not me sticking up for her. That's just laying out some facts.
Oh
Anthony
yeah.
Rogers Rice says, Paul, she was paying those big stars to come as $1 million. Beyonce, Oprah, Bruce, all of them paid.
Oh yeah.
Elon Musk was paying people $100 to vote almost. I mean, there's a lot of mess going on here. And like Matthew Miller Jenkins is saying, why we got to get money out of politics. Marlon Harris
Yeah.
is saying black
Yeah.
men voted in high numbers for Kamala. Latino Asian men voted in high numbers for Trump. That Latino vote was questioned as well because a lot of Latino men came out and voted for Kamala too. I mean, we can analyze all of this and we have to analyze in order for us to figure out what we're gonna do. To me,
Mhm.
that's the only point left. I'm going to move past this because we're coming up on the 8 o'clock hour where we'll do some more discussion and also have our special guest Mike Lee come in. Before we do, something just came up here that I want to jump into real quick. We talked a little earlier about Weberized re-grand opening, and I said earlier that they had to shut down. They had a few problems. They had to shut down for a little while, and they're having a re. If you don't know who Weberized is, first of all, it's
Yeah.
we remember Star Trek Rich from back in the day when we first started this show here. We were going over to Weberized, and that was the studio that we worked out of. Star Trek Rich was our programming person and part of the show and part of the fam. Him and his wife Margie run Weberized, and they're since then it's a podcast studio. Since then they have been housing a lot of great shows, even shows that are associated with us.
Yeah.
So we appreciate all the work they did, and they shut down for a minute and they're having a re-grand opening. By the way, that re-grand opening is on Saturday, November 30th from 4 to
Okay.
6. Yeah, we'll put some more in yeah, the reopening is going to be from 4 to 6 on that day, so I'll put that in the chat real quick. But while the show was going on, and I was looking for this information. I saw a post by my man Star Trek Rich, and I knew the reason why they had to shut down for a minute, but I didn't say it because it was his business. But he's now posted, so I'll let you know. He says the hard part is over. That makes it easier to share the full story of why we're having a grand reopening. Last month, Richard underwent brain surgery to remove a 2.7 centimeter pituitary tumor, a macrodenoma pressing against his optic nerve. Thankfully, the surgery went well, and we're relieved to have caught it before it messed with his vision. Now Richard is on the road to recovery. He's ready to get back to doing what he loves, making podcasts with you. Thank you for your patience and support during this time. Let's hit record and make some waveforms. Love,
Man,
Star Trek Rich and Margie. So there you go. I didn't like I said, we were very concerned. This went on for a while. We reached out to them as whatever we can do to help keep Webrise on his feet. We feel like Webrise is the most important podcast studio in Omaha,
man,
and it's ran by two professionals that have been in broadcast news for years and years and years. So,
decades.
yes, decades. So, they have been doing the good work, and we really appreciate them. That's fam. Shout out to Star Trek Rich. I'm glad he's on the mend, and yeah, let's all have a good time, celebrate with them. This the 20th of I'm sorry, the 30th of November on Saturday, 4 to 6 for the re-grand opening of Weberize. So
Yeah,
just wanted to share that because I know a lot of you have been with us since the start, and you guys remember us being over at Weberize and Star Trek Rich and the fam. They're still the fam.
yeah. Oh
We
yeah,
still we still work with them behind the scenes on a lot of stuff.
much
And
love.
yeah, much love, man. Much love.
Is that so? Location, is that going down at the Mastercraft building? Is that
At the Mastercraft building, yep,
okay?
at Weberize. So I will have more information on that as it comes up. I think you can't fit a whole lot of people in Weberize, so
Yeah,
we'll see what they got the Mastercraft building though, so they may extend out to some of those big rooms
yeah,
out
that'd
there,
be
depending
nice.
on how many people show up. Yeah, but it'd be nice to kind of really kind of give them some props and also check in with my man. My pop says, "Oh my goodness, love Star Trek Rich. Glad he's feeling better. Glad you
Yeah,
feeling better."
man. Yeah, it was definitely sad to hear that news, but glad that the brother's on the on the up and up on the road to recovery. So, if you're friends with him on Facebook or social media, or you know him personally, yeah, definitely reach out, send some love, send some light, and yeah, big shout out to those of you who have done so already. Part of the
Absolutely.
fam.
First guy fan for real. It's 8:02 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, you're now in the second hour with us at First Sky Omaha in the morning. We
In the
appreciate you
morning.
guys. Oh, step on the line. First Sky
Yeah,
Omaha
baby.
in the morning.
In the morning.
Got Luther on there. Ooh yeah,
Ooh, yeah.
yeah, man. And we're gonna continue the conversation here in the second hour, and also we have a special guest, Mike Lee, coming up as well. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back and you smell the coffee beans, man. Reset a little
Hey.
bit and come back and jump into some conversation. Stay tuned again. Don't go nowhere. Paul B, Buddy the
I'll
God,
be. Hey,
all of y'all.
ain't touching nothing.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. First Sky
Mm.
Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. Forgot about that jam. Forgot about that jam. Forget that jingle. I forgot about that jam.
Buddy,
Man.
where did in the morning come from? That was he put that he put that Prince on that one. In the morning.
Yeah, man. Forget about that. Forget about that jingle. I forgot about that jam.
Yeah, Buddy the God on
On the beats.
the beats, man. That's what's
All right,
up.
thanks,
Yeah,
thanks, Pops. Yeah. I
yeah.
forgot I did that.
Yeah, man. We ain't nothing but a couple musicians that decided we needed to talk about some serious things to change things around here.
Yeah, man.
And be a part of that. Be a part of that. I want to also give another quick shout out to brother Sherman Wells. I highly suggest that you go to his show, Sermon with Sherman.
Big Sherm, fool.
I used to say Sunday sermon with Sherman, but he told us last night on his show, he'll run up on you on a Tuesday. It could be
Man.
yesterday was Tuesday sermon with Sherman. So check out Sherman Wells, because he was on there, and he had a special guest on his show last night, that was speaking out against the business out here in Omaha that
Man.
everybody's talking about. Now we need to boycott. You don't cuss out and call the N word any black anybody. Number one, especially not a 70-year-old black woman
Man.
and her family. And so there was some kind of discrepancy about the dish, about something that could have been something that could have been solved very easily with any kind of decent customer service, and it ended up into the fact that she is getting cussed out and called the N word by the employees here at this place called China Palace. So Sherman Wells calling for boycott on there, had her daughter on to tell the story. And I highly suggest you go listen to the story, check out his show on his page, Sherman L. Wells.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Much love to Brother Sherman, man.
For real.
Much love to Brother Sherman, Brother Kasim, everybody who's, again, marching and walking and just, pounding the pavement and step with those individuals. Cause that's, we're again before the break, we're talking about organizing, we're talking about political action. I mean, at the most basic level, what Sherman is doing, that's what it looks like. That's it. And the brother is not just kicking up dust, but getting results. I remind you, this isn't the first time that he's called a boycott of a local business based on their treatment of our community members. Again, if you haven't, kept up what was going on at 60th and Ames with the gas station there was some success with that. If you
60th
remember
was
the
the saddle, 60th Ames, or was it 60th and
Sorensen,
Sorensen? Yeah.
yep, 60th and Sorensen. Thank you for that correction. Yeah, the gas station kind of right in front of, or kind of right close to Nathan Hale Middle School, if you're familiar with that area, right across from Eagles Nest Church.
Mhm.
Again, there's a gas station right there on that corner that has some issues, has some mistreatment, speaking to our, especially our sisters in the community, with the lack of respect. And again, Brother Sherman Wells pulled up, spoke to the owner, and there was some policy changes. He even got the employees to wear name tags so we can identify who's talking to us crazy when it happens.
Mhm.
There was a QR code that was put up on the window so that customers can directly contact ownership and things like that. Like, these are real changes that how a business is operating in our community, and it's all based on, again, the work from Sherman Wells, the work from shout out to brother Myron Pierce of Fix the Pond,
Mhm.
of course.
On the pond.
Yeah, thank you. On the pond, Sister Anjali, for speaking up. I believe she was the one who was actually, spoken to with the disrespect and
Mhm.
had the encounter. So again, Brother Sherm, he ain't new to this. He true to this.
Yeah. And he's doing it again, and I'm sure he's gonna get some results. I'm sure he'll pull up on China Palace with a camera, talk to some folks. We'll see what comes of that.
Man,
As of now, boycott situation is happening, and we take it a step further because we sitting here doing what we do in the media, and this is some other things you can also do, which is jump in here and to
man,
Yelp. Yelp is
mhm,
also something that really affects businesses. If you had a bad experience, use Yelp. If you had a bad experience, use Yelp and give them a review, because these things help. China Palace, as you can see right now, it's got 3.5 stars out of 4. Uh, they might need to change if they're
yeah,
going around cussing out older black women in their 70s and calling them the N word. Not even.
nah,
You shouldn't have these many stars, as far as I'm concerned. So
man,
other things to do. Also, Buddy mentioned earlier the Better Business Bureau. So somewhere you can also complain at. Brother Anthony Rogers Wright says they don't really got any teeth anymore. I haven't heard nothing about them for a while either. But I say
yeah.
use everything you got. Is what
Yeah,
I say.
Chamber of Commerce. I think the city has like a human rights office. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Mm,
things that can be done, and we're in a new era of social media. So that the number one thing is going to happen is that'll just
yeah,
spread around social media, kind of like Sister Kaya's disappearance did
yeah, yeah, yeah.
with fire, with quickness.
Man.
The word spreads quickly before it's even verified a lot of times. So they'll do that. Brooke in the chat, good morning, says haven't been there since the '90s, so I'll continue my boycott.
Yeah, did you get
Yeah.
any similar treatment? Was
Yeah, that's a good question. I've been there a couple times earlier on when I got in town, and they had the crispy duck and all that good stuff over there. But yeah, it was I did take out once, and like I called in and went in to go pick it up, and they acted real funny with me, and I do remember going, okay,
Hmm.
yeah, this is not, yeah, okay, cool, and without consciously like saying I'm not coming back here, I just haven't been back.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, might
yeah.
be time for some conscious, decisions, some intent.
Some intent. That's right.
Okay.
Speaking of intent, I'm gonna go ahead and jump, bro, because we got our man sitting in the wings over here.
Oh yeah.
He
Okay.
came in on time and early, and I'm like, okay, cool, cool. Let's go ahead and bring. Speaking of intent, this brother is one of the most intentional young brothers that I've met in a long time. He's turning out to be one of the hardest working men in local politics,
Okay.
and doing some work. I remember early on in the shows we were asking about the Black Caucus. We were asking about some kind of way to organize and so on, and didn't really know who was in it and who was running it anymore and what was going on. And I remember his name floating around, and we ended up meeting the brother in the campaign on the campaign trail here that just happened recently, this recent election, and did some more things. But he was working with Terrell McKinney and all kinds of folks, and I'm really just impressed by the kind of work that he's been doing. So I want to make sure that we give him some props and we get to know him. So get your questions ready. I'm trying to prime everybody up for the special guest that's coming. I know we got a lot to talk about, but please let's give him some time and respect his time on the show. Ask some good questions, have some good conversation with none other than Brother Mike Lee in the house. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Morning.
Hey.
How you
How
doing, brother?
everybody doing? Can't complain now. I will say this is early. I'm usually in bed checking emails around this time. So,
Oh man.
Look, bro, we a couple of musicians, so we don't get up till noon any other day. So you can't say nothing to us about getting
Yeah.
up early.
hey,
I'll
look,
be
I can't
honest,
say
man.
nothing. I showed up on time today.
Hey,
Time is a, I had the same problem that Paul does. It's just a figment of my imagination. Um,
man.
and, so I'm just glad to be able to join you guys tonight. First
Appreciate
of
you,
all.
man.
Man, glad to
Appreciate
have you. Glad to have you. If I remember correctly, I think we met in person over the summer at the Empowerment Network event. I believe we were sitting at the same table or close to tables, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you might. Yeah, gotta
it.
think about that. Gotta think about that. Yeah, yeah. So we've been talking for some.
But I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure I met you at a different event. I
maybe.
usually don't normally go to Power Network events.
Okay.
I've been trying to get better
Okay.
with that. Camera's been on to me. Um, I'm one of
Yeah.
those people who can't hide my face.
Okay, okay. Well, I will say it's glad to, I'm glad to, and it's good to actually have you on the show. Finally, have you on the show. As Paul mentioned, we've been talking about the work that you've been doing, not knowing that it's you that's been doing some of the work, as far as again with some of the campaigns and also the Congressional Black Caucus, which we do have a lot of questions about. But kind of customary when we have guests that for first time here on the show. Kind of like to open up just about you. Where you're from. How'd you get into the work that you're doing? Let us know a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I am from Omaha. I've been bouncing back and forth. Uh, basically since I've been born. My dad was in the military, so we did live in North Carolina for a while, in
Okay.
Texas, and then we finally settled here. So still don't really understand that story part because my family and them are just from Oklahoma and Texas.
Okay.
Uh, but I found a home here. I graduated from Omaha Central. I went to McMillan. You know, grew up here, and yeah, so that's like my connection to the community. And then in 2020, I was, kind of inspired or moved to run, or not to run, but to do something. And I
Mhm.
remember hearing something. I was in college in Colorado, so I was running track. So that had me all over the place.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so as I was running, when I was finishing up, the George Floyd thing was happening nationally,
Mm.
right? And so I was angry, living up in the mountains, kind of away from home, right, with nothing with black people around me except the athletes, right? I think a lot of people who go to PWIs can understand that. Um, and so, I remember seeing something about Senator McKinney on my Facebook about him running the first time for the primary, and I was like, okay, if he runs for the primary, I'm gonna help, right? Like, I want to volunteer, I want to do something, I'm gonna make phone calls, I'm gonna do something, right? And so I think
soon after I came home, and we was have I know in Omaha the George Floyd protest was happening on 72nd and Dodge, and I was
Mm-hmm.
there for a little bit.
Freedom Corner, they call it.
Yep.
Hmm. And I remember I connected with Senator McKinney. We started having these weekly Zoom meetings with a group of volunteers that I think are just people who wanted to help them. And at that time, I was looking at the West Wing, trying to finish up papers for college. And so I just sent them a 2-week plan based off what I've been seeing on West Wing and what I Googled up. Um, and I was like, I don't have any experience in this. I just noticed that you don't have a campaign manager. It doesn't really seem like you might need some help, because he advanced to the general. And so I'm like, take this plan and, you know, be good. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, right? Like 2020 with COVID and everything going on, it was crazy. So
Yep.
like at that point in time, I think I was gonna stay out in Colorado and just train. Right, I already graduated, so I was gonna train. I worked at a restaurant out there. Rent was cheap. You know what I'm saying? So like I was like, yeah, I'm fine. 2 weeks later, once I got home in Colorado, Senator McKinney called me and asked me to run his campaign. And so
Nice.
been doing the work ever since.
And you came on back. That's what's up.
Man,
Uh,
nice.
Let me stop you for a second. Are you talking about the show West Wing? You was watching?
Yes.
Wait. So part of the reason why you got into politics is you was inspired by the show West Wing. Is that what you're telling me?
See, I've always been in wanting to get into politics. I have a degree in poli sci.
Okay, that was
But
my
West
question.
Wing was my like way of like, okay, because for me it was like very weird. I'm trying to figure out how to navigate like getting into politics, like and not running, right? And so I
Hmm.
was always fascinated by the things that was going on behind the scenes, right, behind the people, right, like who was helping draft policy, right, and message, who was their Toby, right, like
Right.
all that.
Bro,
So,
the reason why I say it is because Pops in the chat, one of the chat chimers, Pops is that's his favorite of all time shows. Here he is. He just came in. The West Wing is his
dang.
favorite show of all time. There you go.
Okay. I'm
Uh,
not hip. I'll be honest.
what?
I
Okay.
didn't watch. I haven't watched a lot of West Wing, bro.
Well,
Like,
first 4 or 5 seasons on point. Aaron Sorkin, one of the best writers of dialogue and stuff of all time, is the writer and
okay.
the creator of that show. Yeah, we can
Yeah,
go.
and
Yeah.
I'd say some of the not to cut you off, Paul, some of the same issues, right, that we are
Mhm.
still facing and trying to figure out how to navigate, right? Like I think looking at that and seeing like where we are now, uh, is like crazy, right? Because it's a lot of it is the same issues, same fights, right? Just presented differently. And some of
Hmm.
it we can see how it progressed, right? Like the school
Right.
choice, abortion, um, issues like that. So
That's what I was gonna say. That's one of the things about, and this is the power of like fictional shows and stuff like that too. Like they were right along with what the issues were of the day was happening when they were writing that show. Like a little bit after, so you have this like the hindsight and the outcome of the event. So that when they showed the event, they showed it more completely. It was fictional show, but they were addressing these issues that were really relevant at the time, and like he's saying right now, still relevant right now. So yeah, it's really interesting the power of that fictional kind of narrative and understanding like a complete picture of it, because you're when you're writing something with a complete picture now that you
Hmm.
when you have it, so it's just
Hmm.
interesting. And I couldn't let that pass because like I said, I knew Pops was going to chime up on that. So I appreciate you. Also, real quick before we continue on too, are you using your laptop? Are you on the laptop right now?
so I have a laptop in the background and I have my phone
Oh, the
up
phone.
there.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. I'm just
Okay.
making sure
Okay.
that your internet is you were a little bit choppy in the beginning, but you're
Yeah.
doing good now. So appreciate you.
Content.
Uh,
Right.
bro, is this true? Kimber says he's also Precious cousin.
Yeah, that's okay.
See, it make it. I was going. That was my next comment. It's
What?
making a lot more sense now, man. I
Come
don't
on.
know what y'all got in y'all blood, man, but powerful family, powerful, powerful. Shout
Thank
out to Sister Precious. Shout out to
What?
Brother Kasim.
It's Ashley.
Man,
Ashley
I
is all in the family, right?
Huh? Yeah, yeah, Precious. Precious is. I don't know how Precious is related to Kasim, and
They
so I need
cousins.
to ask her that.
She they say they first cousin.
Yeah, and see, me and her first cousin, so I must be related to Kasim, but I didn't know.
mm-hmm. Hey, it
So I
sound
got
like
to figure that
Omaha.
out.
It sound like Omaha.
And isn't Ashley's a Spivey a Precious cousin as well?
No, see, Ashley is Precious's best friend.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they was cousins. All right. Anyway, yeah, like it's just interesting, man. Who you surround yourself with, and
Mhm.
what you end up doing. Who like you said,
See,
who all in the fam, man.
see, Paul, we call that Omaha cousins. That's what
That's
that is. Yeah.
Literally. At this point in time, people think that I'm Senator McKinney's brother. So, so
Hey,
that's what's up. That's what's up. Well,
man,
we
man.
appreciate it, man. So you came in as Senator McKinney's campaign manager for his first go around and second go around too, right?
yes, sir.
That's what's up.
Okay, a couple successful,
And to run it back, yes, yes,
yeah,
we won
yeah, runs under
primary
the
key
belt.
votes.
How did you get to the Black Caucus? How did you get to the Congressional Black Caucus?
So I'm not part of the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm part of the Nebraska Democratic Black Caucus.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Difference. What's the
I
difference?
was elected, because otherwise it sounds like I do something way more, right?
Mhm.
Um, I probably was elected probably about 2 months, about September ish, to the Black Caucus. We
Okay.
had our first meeting in November. It's been slow to kind of build up and just restart. Um,
You talking about
I've
this
been,
this year?
yeah, right. Like our
Hmm.
first meeting under my leadership has been
Oh.
November.
Okay.
Pastor Bank has she was the former chair, and also
Uh,
Kimra was also the former chair. So we had
Mhm.
some things to work on, right? But getting all that information and just trying to make sure that we're streamlining it in a way that works for my organizer mind, right? Like I'm very I want to make sure that we're just being intentional, right? And
mhm.
so I've been talking to the executive team. I talked to Kimra on regularly. Me and her. Speaking of which, Kimra, like it's all love. Me and her haven't been talking. She thinks I'm mad at her, but I'm not mad at her. So
What?
Okay,
I'll talk to her later.
okay.
Had to say that. Had to give that shout out. Make sure Kimra know I love
All
her.
That's
right,
all
all
love.
right. We keep love out front, so I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Um, okay, so
I'm like, what's happening? What's going on?
yeah,
Look at me
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
get the soap opera.
I gotta make sure that Kimra know we good. So that's my dog. That's my
All right,
road
we'll
dog.
leave it at that. We'll
Yeah,
leave that
yeah.
between y'all. We'll leave that between y'all.
Mhm.
My name is Paul. That's between y'all.
Look,
But
Uh,
yeah, a lot of questions on this Black Caucus
what
tip.
is the Black Caucus?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta
Let's
find
start
out
there.
first and foremost. Like,
Let's
what are
start there.
y'all supposed to do?
right. So me, the Black Caucus is an organization for members of the Nebraska Democratic Party who want to join, black members of the Nebraska Democratic Party who wants to join to talk about building one, the party infrastructure around black candidates and supporting black candidates and organizers. Uh, two, making sure that the black voices in our communities are heard um, at the state level, right? Especially on the SEC level when decisions are made by the state party.
Mhm.
Um, and then three, I've been making sure, like, I've talked to Senator McKinney about like trying to build black political power and making sure that we're always doing that intentionally.
Mhm.
Whether that is, I know we talked about PACs in the past, are just raising like additional funds. So there's some things I want to do with the Black Caucus that don't exist currently right now, but
Mm,
um, I'm trying to figure out ways that if it makes sense for the Black Caucus to do, or just something maybe that you know, Kimmer or Senator McKinney or Ashley or myself can just take up as a side project. Uh,
mhm.
Okay.
So right now, the Black Caucus is there for the promotion of Black Democratic candidates.
Promotion of Black Democratic candidates, uh, our voices, making sure our voices is heard in the state party,
About what?
and then you said what?
What voices on what on
So
issues?
like on the platform, like every time that there's a state convention and there's like revision of platforms and people add new stuff, right? The SEC, like as Black Caucus chair, I sit on the SEC calls, which is basically just the governing body calls for the Nebraska Democratic Party, and we hash out any of the conversations that need to be had. Now, in the extreme cases, right, the Black Caucus will write a statement and dictating on how it feels about certain strong things.
Mhm.
It just depends, right?
Okay, interesting.
But with Precious being at the executive, being at the head of the executive table, right? Like we also, the Black Caucus is well informed between anything that's kind of like threatening or that we might not like, right? To get that heads up in that
Mm,
respect.
That was kind of my question, and I think brother Anthony Rogers Wright kind of alluded to that earlier, as far as just the how is the relationship in the state, as far as the state, keep it at the state level, between the black candidates and the Democratic Party. Like we've seen, like Sister Kimra, exit out of the Democratic Party. We've I think it was not necessarily at the state level, but at the national level, as far as a lack of support for black candidates like Preston Love Jr. What, like, do you feel, and do the black candidates feel supported by the Democratic Party in the state, and what is that relationship right now?
So, I mean, I can honestly say, uh, as a campaign manager, I've been happy this go round, just to be able to see the level of activity that the caucus, the party wants to do, but also like having special funds that have become available because of the presidential elections and stuff like that.
Mm,
Mm,
So like this cycle, we had 9 targets, our nine candidates, um, 9 candidates that was running for office.
mm,
And so I know Preston was the only candidate to lose his race
mm,
out of that, right? And so we had 8 other candidates that we invested in as well, right? Like I know that we cut checks as part of the Candidates of Color Fund.
mm,
We've also I did a $3,000 investment for digital ads for
mm.
CD2,
Okay.
specifically targeting African Americans. Um, and so right? Like I know that we wanted to do a mailer, we had funds to do a mailer, but the quick turnaround between our design and getting it to before the deadline just didn't make sense for me. So we shifted funds for other things and outreach.
okay. I'm gonna jump in the chat real quick,
But
man.
as
Go ahead.
far as the relationship, I think the relationship is, I mean, the Black Caucus, it's steadily going to constantly fight for its black candidates, right?
Hmm.
Preston's The problem with Preston's issue is it goes out. We don't have a federal account as a Black Caucus, so we only have a non-part, basically a non-Fed account, which doesn't allow
Hmm.
us to give our own money uh, to Preston. But we try to support
Mm,
him in different ways along by just adding him to our candidate slate cards and stuff like that. But I mean, I was his campaign manager at one point in time as well,
Mm,
um, and I do. I mean, I do think that the state party. Um, Tried. I did see those rooms where they did try to fight for him to get some money. I do think that it could have been leveraged differently, right? Especially with Osborne and the DSC, uh, you know, playing off each other. We could have just basically said that, hey, if you want to support Osborne, then you got to make sure that you give some money to to Preston Love. But at the same time, those conversations are hard to have, right? And if they
hmm.
happen at the top, and so
Right.
a lot of times I'm not in those rooms unless I am the campaign manager or
right.
Right. The Fed level makes a lot of sense. But even at the level of Senator McKinney, I am thinking of disconnect. I was actually thinking about this when we spoke to Senator McKinney on Monday. While there are things obviously that agreed upon with the National Democratic Party, and Senator McKinney's platform, there are some connections there, but there's also some things that seemingly disconnect, especially with the messaging. It's been mentioned by the National Democratic Party, the whole Kamala Harris campaign, as far as how they view felons, and how they spoke about Trump being a felon and things like that. And Senator McKinney has spoke adamantly about how he feels people view felons, and how the prison system is just handled in general. Do you still feel like the Democratic Party is the best party for African American political power in this country?
I think until we build our own and another alternative, right now, I'm only interested in trying to build between Black Power with the powers that I have, right?
Hmm.
And so, I talked about Senator McKinney and his campaign is being unique already, right? Right, like the way that the senator interacts with the party, the way that he got into office is the same, right? Like we didn't interact with the state party outside of Precious, right?
Mm,
Like, and at
Mm,
that point in time, we were just like, hey, are we not make sure we are not tripping? This is our first time going around, right, in 2020. Now that we kind of know how the party is, and he is his own individual, right? And so the party has no bearing on necessarily on the candidates I like to run, right?
Mm.
I try to do a questionnaire on candidates before I take them on, right? To just to see if I align with them value wise and if they align with the values of the community, the
Hmm.
way I see fit. And so, and if they don't, then I don't usually take them on. So, I
What
think
what are s- just what are some of the things that you usually look for in a candidate?
um so one of my first things I like to ask somebody is what do you think? What do you think about when you think about North Omaha? Right? Like if they are a North Omaha candidate. Um, and between that, that was usually a lot of times help. I also ask questions like, what is your favorite books to read? Right? Just trying to get a general knowledge and understanding before we start breaking down into policies. And I start asking, well, what's your thoughts on the police? Or,
Mm.
or
Okay.
working with this nonprofit or this organization, right? Um, so it's not just like hitting people over the head, but just more so of a questionnaire. Then from there, we kind of just tease it out a lot of these questions and our answers.
Okay.
What you got? You gonna ask me? What you got dinging over there, man? You want? What's up?
So
You at work?
my dad is off work today, and he is going back and forth out of his garage. Uh,
He's off
and
work,
so
but
we
he's
got
still
every
working.
time he comes out, it just says it.
Okay, all right. I was just messing with you. Mesfield Jenkins in the chat real quick says, I went to two SCC meetings in person and a few others online. What power do you feel the Black Caucus has? And
uh,
I'm gonna throw the second one in there too. Also, do you feel the difference of opinions between Douglas Dems and the state party will come to anything? Got a couple questions for you.
what party does the state party have? I mean, I think that we hold a considerable amount of power, right?
Okay.
You have our past chair is the executive director, right? And so a lot of times that whenever the Black Caucus has problems or issues that they be faced, I can say that both Jade and Precious are responsive to both of us. Now there are some things that the Black Caucus itself wants to take up as issues, not necessarily between the party, but just with some individuals, and just having to navigate and how we talk about building power and uh, community, right, inside the Democratic Party. But right, like I think it just depends on what we're talking about, right? Like if you want to talk about with Don Klein and the last time the Black Caucus operated, right, that was under new leadership, and at the same time that power was wielded and got Don Klein out of the party, essentially.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so when
Interesting.
we
Yeah.
when we have these conversations, right, like I think it's just fruitful for us to all understand that I myself might be Black Caucus chair, right, and I am privy to some conversations, but I do not make organizational directions, right, other than the Black Caucus. Now, for the county party and and the state party, is anybody who works in this field understands and knows egos and personalities are a thing,
Mm.
and I think that's what's clashed, right? Constantly.
Jeez.
I sit on both these, and so yeah, like I think depending on the specific conversation you're trying to ask with the county party and state party and their relationship, it's always been razzle dazzle. To me, I just try to figure out how to ways to navigate, and members of my caucus to navigate both parties, right, without interfering or stepping on any landmines that deal with people's egos or previous issues they might have in the past.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Um.
Pastor Banks in the chat, real quick. I just want to acknowledge Pastor Banks a little earlier says it's not just black candidates; it's black people regarding the state Democratic Party blessings. So,
Mhm.
meaning, and then also she keeps asking Lincoln,
Oh,
and
Pastor
yeah,
Banks. So we always have to make sure that we are saying when we talk about the Black Caucus is not just for North Omaha,
hmm
right? It is for the entire state
Mm-hmm.
and Black members and Democrats living throughout the entire state, right? And so Pastor Banks is down in Lincoln, and she always makes it a intentional reference to make sure that she says Lincoln as well.
yeah,
Okay.
black
Okay. I
people everywhere.
appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. And on that note, I really don't want to. I appreciate the questions about the Democratic Party and just relationships and just kind of the infighting and just getting more information about where they stand. But that's not really the conversation I want to have with you. It's more so focusing on black political power. Like again, those two things aren't always synonymous as far as democratic success and black political power. I'm kind of curious, what does that look like for you ultimately? Again, you said I agree that the Democratic Party at this moment seems like kind of the closest thing that we have to get things done. But I think we can all agree that it's not the ultimate. It's not the pen. It's not perfect. And there are many issues that we have as quote unquote black people in America that aren't addressed or even really considered by the overarching powers that be in the Democratic Party. So what does that look like as far as political black power in Nebraska to you in its fullest extent?
I think for me, it's about making sure like there's no reason that we should only have uh, one. We should have only have two districts that are decided to be black districts
Mm,
uh, on the state level, right? And that's 13
hmm
and 11. I
hmm
think that, like for instance, if I think a black woman can win in South Omaha, right?
Yeah.
In LG7, I think that was very possible. I think that when we talk about right building black political power, we have to make sure that we're doing it in a way that not all in a way that makes sense, because we also have to understand that not all skin folk are kinfolk, right? And
Facts.
so they don't move necessarily toward the same beat of our drum, right? Right. And so for me, it's about being independent. I want people to be, they could be Democrats, right? And I think that adheres to a certain amount of values, right? But I think that being independent to, the black dysphoria is very vital, right? And so making sure that we're talking about, the communities that we face every day with Sudanese, and
Mm,
in North Omaha, the Vietnamese,
hmm
right? Like those black and brown communities, they are part of our communities, and that we should be talking to them. And so I know that we've talked in the past about trying to get more of our Sudanese brothers involved in politics, and not only to just understand that every election cycle somebody's going to come knock on their door,
Mm.
but also just regular issues, right? Like what are you facing? What are the problems that you face? And then what can the current people who are elected, right, like Senator McKinney and Ashley now, or even Juanita Johnson, right? Like the people who are currently in office, what are they doing to fight for you every day? And so I think like that's the main thing. I want people to ultimately trust or start to try to believe in the system, right? And I think it is the job of operatives, organizers, party leaders to talk to people in an intentional way, regardless of your ideology, right? To
hmm
get them to understand that your voice, your vote matters, right? But also, if you're pissed off about something, organize. Let's change it. Let's get somebody out of office, right? Something's not working. And so, for me, I know that I've been talking about a lot on organizations, for black organizations specifically, right? But I think that that's different from the Democratic Party, right? Because the Democratic Party wants to focus on building black Democrats, right? And its memberships of black Democrats. And sometimes those values and the same issues that the black community need to focus on can look different
hmm
than what the Democratic Party or the Republican Party would value, right? And so I think that that's just being honest. We understand that
Right.
people don't necessarily see our issues, nor do they care about it or can address it better than we can, right? And so building that infrastructure for us, I think that we finally got the people in place, right? We got the people, we got the organizers, the shakers, the movers, the boots on the ground.
hmm
Um, and now it's about getting everybody together to say what some common goals are, right?
hmm
Because there's a lot of different egos and ideology in the room. Hammering that out, and then also streamlining fundraising, right? I think that's one thing that black organizations and black political organizations specifically we suffer from, right? Like all my like I can almost say with guarantee that every black candidate that campaigns who I ran has raised the majority of their money outside the state.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
and so when you look at that, right, like the candidates have to go outside the state to raise their money,
Wow.
right? It's it's crazy, it's weird, but it's also like we need to be talking about the people who have money in our communities as well, right? Who could be donors, right? Having them at the table and conversating about what power looks like and power building looks like, right? I think that's vital, right? To have people like the Tim Clarks, what I'm saying, the
Mm-hmm.
can't remember this, Willie Barneys, the world,
Mm-hmm.
right? Trying to work with them in an honest way, and push aside this ideology that works best for the
Hmm.
black community, right? You just got to get there. And
Do you?
sometimes these egos are hard to work on.
So we keep on going back to that whole thing about the ego when we're talking about trying to really get especially black power organized out here. Um, and so that leads me to wonder, as far as Black Caucus is concerned, like who is involved? Who's you mentioned like Willie Barney, for instance. You mentioned uh, Tim Clark. You mentioned some other people, and I'm thinking to myself, they're not involved with the Black Caucus? Who's it? Is it because it's a Democratic thing? Maggie Miller Jenkins is also asking a similar question. Do you see involvement from people outside Omaha on Black Caucus? Who is involved? Who would you like to see involved?
I would like to see everybody on this call involved. Tomorrow we have our second meeting, um, for the Black Caucus. But as overall, like if you ask me, right, those donors, those people that we just talked about and named, none of those are involved in the political party or building the political party
And are
or
you?
doing
And
things like
is it
that.
because of the party? Is it because of the ideology, or is it because of the egos, or is it like what?
Something
What do you?
else.
I think sometimes it's both, right? Because a lot of these people are the same. They wear different hats, right? They are in charge of nonprofits. They work with the DED. They work with the Republicans, right?
Hmm.
Right, because those people are in power, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times, like, and this is what I mean when I say that some people, like when we talk about the people that we want fighting for us and being intentional about that, it's also the people who are willing to lose it all for themselves or don't think about themselves, right? And so those same individuals, I think, don't necessarily get involved a lot of times because it is a partisan uh, meeting,
Hmm.
right? And nobody wants to be taking sides, and definitely not when people can come at you from the right. So I do think that definitely makes some people just not want to get involved. Now, overall, I think it has been just difficult, right? I think the election cycle that we had, as us having our first meeting last month, and just rebuilding on trying to have consistent meetings, right? I think that has been the main issue of why we haven't really seen the type of involvement that I want to see. But that's one of the things that I want to make sure that we're doing, right? Is constantly trying to just build up our engagement, so that way when it becomes times for election cycles, right, the executive team is not just the only people trying to make things move and shake. Um,
Mm.
and luckily, we have a couple of people who are willing to help with that as well.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm also thinking of like other black political organizing bodies, i.e., the Commission on African American Affairs. We haven't heard too much about that, but I'm just kind of curious as far as have you had any conversations with any of the members of that commission? Um, yeah, where does that relationship stand, if at all?
You know, there's
Okay.
no relationship.
So even
Um,
even the organizations aren't getting together. Like, do you
Yeah,
guys?
exactly, exactly.
What partners do you have as the Black Caucus? Are there any other organizations that you guys partner with?
I organize, guys. I partner with my candidates, and
Mhm.
uh, like I think the Black Caucus has definitely, we used to talk to a lot with Willie Hamilton,
Okay.
um, and Kimmer might be able to prove me wrong, but there might be some other organizations under her leadership that we worked a little bit closer with. But right now, as far as that specific organization that you named, I believe they was all appointed by uh, Ricketts or Pillen,
Mhm.
and I don't know most of them.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, you actually. I mean, we're not gonna keep you on here all day. We actually got to go here pretty soon. But you got me. You got
Yeah, got the
you
wheels turning.
caused way more questions now. I got way more questions about all of it. I'm trying to narrow down like I think what I'm really trying to figure out as far as you personally are concerned. I hear what you're saying. You feel like right now the Democratic Party is the closest thing to us. Needing, we're in here playing the game with the Democratic Party so that we can gain some power inside the game. But you also are speaking about how we can build Black power outside of that. I think that you see where I'm leaning towards with this kind of discussion about whether or not we're partnering with other Black folks, other Black organizations. I don't see how that is happening in the Democratic Party that way so much, except for like the work that I see Precious doing and you and
Mhm.
and I understand that you guys are kind of limited within the party to do that, and the party, and I'm happy that it's there because there is a party and there needs to be some Black representation inside that party.
Mhm.
But it seems to me like we need to advance this conversation to what we're going to do outside of the party, what we're going to do
We need our own.
as people, right? Our own, right?
Mhm.
We need our own.
And that's we need our own, and I feel like you agree, you see that too, and I want to next time we talk to you maybe talk about how what we could do to build that. While earlier in the show, I talked about holding two different kind of opposing ideas in the same brain, and I'm feeling that way with this.
Mm.
Like, gotta be in there doing what we can do with the party, but we also got to be building something of our own on the outside. And how can we do that without things clashing? And more importantly, what can we do to bring folks together with it?
Yeah.
So I want to kind of let that marinate with us and everybody and you, and maybe another time I'll bring you back on and talk more about it, because it seems to be, that's the deal. And also, while we're at it, maybe think about what we can do to shore up the Black Caucus more, to bring some more unity, to bring some more people involved. If that's what it's about. Um, like we also on the other side of things, man. Like the Black Agenda Alliance is talking about separating from these parties, separating from certain entities in order to be able to build our own. Trying to hold both thoughts in the same brain.
Mhm.
Be honest.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so anyway, I'll stop there. And buddy, you I know you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm along the same lines with you. Kind of going with Maggie Miller Jenkins in the chat. She says, "Thinking out loud, Precious and you are talented. Ashley is a close friend. How do we expand outside personal circles to increase Black involvement in politics?" And it seems like we're falling for the same old trick: divide and conquer. We're so
Yeah.
divided that we're getting conquered. I mean, I'm gonna just call it how it is. I'm thinking of the
Well,
same image that Paul always puts. We're not. What was it? We're not out what from the quote from Brother Malcolm. We're out organized, essentially. That's it.
Not outnumbered.
We're out organized. We are all we
well,
got, and it's enough. But I don't see that coming together on a meaningful level. And I'm not, blaming you. You're successful. Like you're helping get Ashley in. You're helping get Brother Terrell in. We're all for that. But what is the next step? What does that look like? It's kind of what my thoughts are. But go ahead, Brother Mike.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, when we talk about outside of personal circles, right? Like no one works, right? Like I never want to say that I do this work by myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or that I am perfect at it. And so, Mashi, if you have conversations that you want to have with me, we should have those conversations. Feel free to reach out to me. My DMs are always open. Um, I want to make sure that I say that, right, for the right reasons. But,
Right.
you know,
Right, right.
and so, like, never think that I'm not willing to have a conversation just because you, right? Most likely we probably have the same type of ideas. I can tell
Mm-hmm.
you that I am more of a disruptor than you think that I am,
Mm-hmm.
right? The only reason I got involved at the party is because I criticized it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so then I was like, oh shit, can't criticize something and then not be a part of it.
Right,
Like,
right, right,
Let's
right,
try to
right.
change it
right,
from the inside.
and so, I think like when we talked about like having these conversations, these future conversations, right? Like these conversations on how we build upon uh, building Black power and building upon the recent wins that we had, right? As a community, if we want that to look differently outside of partisan politics, that's one thing, right? And I'm all for that. Right? I think whatever we're talking about, as long as it's about building Black political power and getting people who actually truly care about the community into office, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care if that person is the same skin color. If they're not doing right by the community, then they need to go.
Yep.
Um, and I've made that a kind of personal mission for the last 4 years. So,
Man.
Been doing the work, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, yeah. No, we appreciate the work that you're doing, and however we can assist in, pushing that forward. We're here for it, and Yeah, we got to continue this conversation because it's obvious. I think we can all agree whether you're, you know, going to the Republican events and taking pictures at Republican photo ops, or you're trying to change the Democratic Party from the inside out. I think we all know what we need to do for us. We just got to figure out how to do it.
There you go. Yep. Appreciate that, man. We're gonna go ahead and let you get going, man. I appreciate you spending your time this morning, getting up early in the morning with
Yeah.
us.
Crack of dawn, crack of dawn.
Crack
Thank
of
you.
dawn, crack of dawn. Appreciate that. And we'll definitely continue to have you on. I really appreciate everybody that joined us today and had some good questions and comments. And yeah, and I'm happy that you let us kind of direct it exactly like where we want to go with the conversation with this, because it's all about solutions for us. What are we going to do? We kind of come to this knowing that we got to do for ourselves. So what does that mean? And all the players right now, where are they at on the chessboard? Where are they at working? What are they doing? So it was important to have you on, and I'm quite sure we're going to have you on in the future to see what other new moves you got coming as well. So appreciate you very much. Thank you for coming, and we'll definitely recap and catch up real soon, bro.
All right. Have a good day, y'all.
All right,
Peace
man.
and love.
Peace.
Peace and love.
All right.
Mm.
Yeah, man, appreciate that. Also appreciate Pastor Banks for coming on in for the first
Yeah.
time here too. She says, I've been working since 2007 in the Democratic Party. I'm on the MAC committee, MAC, Multicultural Advisory Committee, and advisory member. I'm a former member of the Star Tran Advisory Board. I'm on the Keno Advisory Committees. I work outside of the Democratic Party, in and outside of the Democratic Party, and I have and continue to work on my Black communities in Lincoln and Omaha. Blessings.
Okay.
Past Pastor Banks again, Lincoln. You remember we got Black folks in Lincoln, so
Yeah.
appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely appreciate you coming on this morning as well. Also, Precious in the chat. Good morning. She says, even though Mike is related to me, that doesn't give him a pass. He works hard. With Ashley, she wanted to run for office. I didn't recruit her. She's highly qualified to run for office. Sorry, we have talented people in politics, and Omaha is small, and we all overlap in circle. Yeah, I heard that, man.
Oh yeah.
We all know we got family. Just because we family don't mean we gonna do the same thing that other family members do. So it definitely is on our own power. So appreciate
Mm.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
and good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate you.
And I hope, the way, like us pointing out those connections, we weren't trying to point in like the realm of nepotism or anything
Right.
like that. We're just recognizing that it's some movers and shakers, and there's a connection going on. And yeah, if y'all if y'all all happen to be family, it's like looking at the family like, man, y'all, some in the blood, some in the water out there, man. Powerful family, and we're all here for it.
We all know that who you hang around
True.
is gonna be who you are. So one way
True.
or another, even if you're not doing exactly the same thing, you're gonna be on the same street. You might be in different lanes, but you're gonna be on the same highway. So
Yeah.
that's what's up. Stacey Jean in the chat says community work is key. When I was much younger, my sister and I did a lot of grassroots groups. Unfortunately, some of these groups were not about the work. If you have a group of substance that's making inroads, here comes the spies.
Man, and COINTELPRO is a real thing, man.
Good warning. Good warning.
COINTELPRO is a real thing.
Also, Precious says no matter if they are friend, family, close, no one gets special treatment.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. Yep, and Pastor Banks is saying thank you very much. From shout out to Lincoln. Yeah,
Oh
man,
yeah.
I
Lincoln
appreciate
gets
you.
down.
Yeah, Lincoln gets down. We do. We have correspondence and stuff in Lincoln too that we want to get with more. So that's what's up. Appreciate that. Precious said, "Good morning. Let me go back to minding my own business."
You know we love you, Precious. You know we love you. Thank you for tuning in, dropping your 2 cents, and getting up out of here. We appreciate you.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thanks for that. 6 more shows left in the season.
Man,
Yeah.
countdown begins.
Countdown begins. So we got a lot of special guests coming up. I appreciate everybody that gives us suggestions on who it is they want to talk to as well. We've been reaching out to some folks. Some folks said it hasn't gotten back to us, and some folks have. So we'll keep on putting the word out and trying to get as many good conversations in. If you miss any of this show, you can always go back and watch it in its entirety on YouTube and also Facebook. I suggest you do both because there's comments coming from both platforms. Definitely check out the comments. Lots of great information,
Man.
good comments, good conversations. Appreciate that very much. Brother Harrison Martin, Mike Lee was on here and he didn't make no announcements, so let's let him do that.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Calm down.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We're gonna move in. We're gonna move in a little bit more too. So this, we'll continue some of this conversation, some of the things that you guys are posting in the next show or other iterations of it as well. I wanted to get to a few haps before we got going on. But before I do that, buddy, do you have any lightning round things that we need to wrap real quick in the last 6 minutes? 6 minutes, buddy. Fresh,
Um,
you're on.
Hey,
On. On.
there's a few things that in the realm of youth programming, youth resources. Wanted to highlight the Nebraska students on track for high demand jobs through new education opportunities. This is something that was rolled out a few years ago in OPS. There was a lot of controversy surrounding this situation. Again, putting students in OPS on track for I would say manual labor jobs, a lot of union based jobs, and students are actually on a high track for that. And apparently, there's some state money for internships and a lot of good coming out of this program, although there is some controversy around it. So maybe we'll repost the Omaha World Herald link on Friends of for you to check that out if you're interested. Also, as Paul, you mentioned earlier in other news, the city of Omaha has decided to restore funding, more funding actually, to PACE youth sports to the tune of $50,000. Again, if you remember, PACE Youth Sports was wrapped up in that whole controversy, that scandal where several of their leadership actually ended up behind bars behind that situation, leaving many youth kind of hanging in the balance. Again, a lot of youth using this program to stay out of trouble, to stay in sports, and all the good things that come from being involved in youth sports was kind of falling by the wayside by this. So we're definitely here to see that type of support get pointed towards the likes of the BAA and their flag football league, and other sports programs in our communities, but anything that benefits the babies, we support, man. So there is that. And also, speaking of benefiting the babies, Do Space is coming back with some resources. They just opened the Memory Lab, which will allow actually not just the babies, but everybody to digitize things as far as vinyl tapes, old records, all types of things, being able to kind of archive it and bring it into the future technology. So big shout out to Do Space doing amazing things, and always excited to see what they have coming down the pipe, man. So those are some of the quick updates. There's a couple other things we could dive into, but we could save that for later dates.
Word up, word up. Appreciate everybody that's coming on in and giving us some updates on stuff. Something else we'll tackle on maybe in the next show too. Anthony Rogers Rice says HR 9495 is being voted on today. This is something that's happening right now. Speaking of COINTELPRO,
Yeah.
so far 52 House Democrats are in favor of the Treasury Department being able to remove 501c3 status without reason. Very scary and very dangerous. So that's not what's up.
It's interesting.
Skilo Slim in the chat. That's dope. What's up, man? Appreciate you coming on in, checking us out. Also, let us know when the spot's coming back.
Yeah.
Break it on the show. We want to know. We want to know.
Yeah, some of the
Uh,
best burgers.
that's right. The best burgers in town.
Yeah.
Speaking of our brother, our sister over here is also hiring. Jobby job. Join the District 13 team. We're hiring for an administrative assistant.
Hey, okay.
By November 27th. So hit up
Got a
Ashley
week.
Spivey. Yeah. Little job happening.
Oh,
And a
jobby job.
couple more little haps I wanted to jump into. Marlon Harrison put this out too, man. I've been looking for something. I'm sorry I'm using your photo here, but I couldn't find any other advertisement for this. Men's Health Day is happening Saturday, November 23rd from 11 to 3. I can't really see us. This North Omaha area health. So this is the NOAA clinic that this is going
Yep.
down with. Yep. So there you go. And then I did find some official on the oh no, I'm coming up with the wrong piece.
And we'll have the fat finger.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, I don't think oh, here it is right here. The men's health details here is here Saturday, November 23rd, 11 to 3. In Omaha at NOAA. They're saying it's a free health screenings for men. We invite all men in the community to take charge of their health at our health fair event. Let's tackle health challenges together. Bring your family, friends, and team spirit for a day of fun, wellness, and support. So that's what's up. They're going to be offering free health screening, flu shots, resources for healthy living, food, prizes, and games, and community connections. So come on through. No registration required. Just come on through to NOAA over there, Free Clinic 5620 Ames Street on November 23rd from 11 to 3. So hopefully we'll see you over there. Also, man, got to give a shout out to the BAA, bro. Put this on your calendar. Mark your calendar, December 27th through the 6th. I'm sorry, December 27th at 6 p.m. Kwanzaa celebration with guest speaker brother Nur Muhammad.
Man, powerful brother.
Coming through.
Powerful brother.
So there you go, man. and I'm with brother Kasim's blessing. Hopefully, we'll have brother Muhammad on the show, and we can
Yeah,
talk to him a
hopefully.
little bit as well. But yeah, man, Kwanzaa celebration coming up. Black Agenda Alliance and the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation teaming up on this. Guest speakers, vendors, more. Mark your calendars. December 27th. Make sure you get down there. And also, something happened over at Culture House coming up as well. This is actually today from 5:30 to 8. Post election reflection. I like this idea. Everybody kind of wants to be able to come and speak on some things. There's going to be food. There's going to be some youth there celebrating the amazing work that youth have done this election season. So celebrating the work that the youth have done. Music, of course.
Yeah.
Everything is about vibes and music when it comes to the Culture House. So shout out to them. So yeah, man, if you can show up today and show your support for the youth and what they've done for this past election as well, show up to the Culture House tonight at 5:30. And yeah, get down with the Culture House. They always get down for real.
Yeah, it's in partnership with a Youth Elect organization who's been doing some things. Been doing some
Youth
things.
elect. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Got to tap in with them, kind of see what's going on, man.
That's really real. Really real. That's about it, man. It's 9 o'clock right now. If you believe in the concept of time and
Mhm.
more apps that are available will be on the Friends of First Sky Omaha group page on Facebook. Please go over to Friends of First Sky Omaha and sign up there if you haven't already. And drop the latest stuff that you got going on, latest music you got going on, latest business news. You're running for
Man,
office, anything that you got, let us know. And also, of course, news articles, things that you see, Omaha World Herald, Channel 7, any place that you get your news, and you want to show us some of the articles that we need to be discussing, put them in Friends of First Sky Omaha, Friends of First Sky Omaha, where the conversation continues when we're not live. So there
big
you
time,
go. Big
big time.
time.
Sister Ceci Jean kind of reading my mind.
What she
Kind
said.
of want to end with a big congrats to Sister Ashley Spivey, pounding the pavement, running through sets of shoes. It all worked out. It all worked out. And I won't even say the work begins because she's been doing the work, been putting boots to the roots, been pounding the pavement.
For
So
real.
the work continues and at an elevated level. So we love to see it. We here for it. And big congratulations to Sister Ashley Spivey and Brother Skilo Slim, who again was supporting, man, pulling daddy duty and husband of the year, man. Shout out to Brother Skilo Slim. Yeah.
Yeah, hardest working couple in show business for real.
Man. Much
Appreciate you.
love. Much love.
Right on, man. We're gonna get out of here, buddy. You got some words for the people?
Yeah, man. Thank you to all the first time listeners of Pastor Banks. Definitely would love to see you come back. Of course, all the frequent listeners, all the chat chimers, we appreciate you. Love you. Big shout out to Brother Mike Lee for taking the time to come and speak with us. That was nice. Hopefully, this won't be the last time we speak to you. So, looking forward to more conversations, more building, maybe even off the show. We got some things to talk about. So, yeah, definitely that. And of course, as always, again, 6 shows left in this season. So, the countdown begins. Make sure you stay tuned with us. We have a few more guests, a few more conversations to have before we get up out of here. But in the meantime, between time, y'all take care of yourselves, man. We love you. We thank you. And as always, catch the same time, same place, Monday and Wednesday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. And of course, check us out on Friday for the weekly wrap.
That's right.
So,
Get down with the weekly wrap. If you haven't
yeah,
signed up
man.
for it, please hit us up. I'm gonna put that link in the chat just in
Yeah,
case you
man.
need it again.
Please do. Please do. But yeah, with that, Paul B,
Yo,
take it
yo.
away, man.
Right on, man. Appreciate everybody that's come through today. Pop says thanks for another great week of shows. Love you all and see you on Monday. Appreciate that very much. And appreciate all of you. And I got to tell you too. Here's another reason we keep on leaving this out, but I'm gonna pull something up real quick because you got to see what we got going on the weekly wrap as well. If you are a member of the channel here, which we appreciate everybody who is all the $10 people, $25 people,
Thank
$50
you.
people being, yeah, and you are also a chat chimer and you're also a supporter, then we might throw up a little spotlight on you inside of the newsletter as well. This one's on Pops, who just gave us a nice goodbye. He said chat chimers know him as Pops. Paul Beyond is not only actual family, but one of the First Sky Omaha's biggest supporters in every way. He's a chat chimer, recurring member, citizen journalist, researcher, griot, and music contributor, and more. Thanks, Pops.
Man.
Yeah, man, we got a few people that we spotlit inside of the weekly wrap. You might be one of them, so please sign up today and definitely get down with us on the weekly wrap. Fight this algorithm so we can keep on having conversations everywhere. So appreciate that very much. Link in the chat, and thank you for everybody that's done that already.
Thank you.
Want to give a shout out to Umaha Tribe Elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here, especially during this month, Native American Heritage Month that's going
Yes,
on here.
yes.
Yep. And shout out to you, our elders, for allowing us to speak before you. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. I appreciate everybody that was on today. I appreciate everybody that was respectful and respectful to each other in the kind of dialogue that we have here, and also respectful to our guests and the time he's come on. And we had questions and concerns, and we've had comments that we wanted to make, and it was all with love is how
Man,
we say it here. So
there you go.
yeah, man, really appreciate that, and stay tuned for more special guests and people to come in the following shows, so we can continue to have those conversations. Meantime, between time, take care of yourselves. It's a little chilly out. It's gonna be a little chilly, yeah, man. It's supposed to be kind of nice today, but if you're in Omaha, I don't know, man. It's just time to break them coats out all the time. Need a jacket.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it's even been rainy down here in Atlanta, man. So it's that time of the year, man. 'Tis the season.
'Tis the season. There it is. We'll see you Monday. Take care of yourselves.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.
By the way, Van Glorious, this is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any means necessary.